gone about that?
Pretty much. Like I've just playing so long with my teammates. I played with the best IGLs in the world, Queasy, Aqua. I've been alongside the best coaches, having good friends alongside you. You're always learning and always trying to improve.
That's great. But look, I got one last question for you, Vino. All eyes are on you and Queasy for these grand finals. Is the pressure getting to you?
I mean, every FNCS, they put me as #1 to win.
I love to hear it. Rightfully so.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us, Vino. Before you go, where can we find you on social media?
Twitter.com/VinoFan and Twitch.tv/VinoFan.
Well, I need to follow you because I really need to learn from everything you do to try and get my game above mediocre. Thank you so much. Congratulations on making it to the grand finals yet again. Obviously, you're going to get here with Queasy, and good luck.
Thank you.
Really, though, we can't talk about Queasy and Vino without talking about Seti and Cammy. It's a bit of an elephant in the room because if you cast your minds back to November 2022, it was the FNCS Invitational, and going into game number 12, there were just 12 points separating these two duos on the leaderboard. And if that wasn't exciting enough, no one could have predicted the off-spawn battle that would happen next, Miniminer.
This is quite possibly the biggest moment in Fortnite competitive history. Definitely my favorite moment. It was great to be in the arena at that time as well. And this is the huge moment that actually ended up winning Cammy and Seti the FNCS Invitational. Queasy and Veno ended up landing on Cammy and Seti at their drop spot. As you mentioned, they were 12 points behind them. So they had to make it happen because Cammy and Seti in this tournament were just so consistent. We can see how the final 1v1 went down here. It was very unfortunate for Vino to just miss that one shot, but Cammy did such a great job using that shotgun to really get involved. And this is where the story starts for this duo. This is where this sort of rivalry has begun. And fast forward back to Chapter 4 today, Grand Finals Chapter 4 Season 1. They're back at it again. Of course, they're still battling it out, but two very different playstyles. Let's talk about Queasy and Veno all the way up on high ground. How did they do it? Of course, contrary to Cammy and Seti all the way down on low ground, they are trying to take the skies. And we can see this right here. Queasy and Veno are so good at taking high ground. They're one of the teams that has taken high ground the most. They've also lost it the most. So it's one of those situations where they've been on it and they're trying to dominate all the time. We've seen them get third, and second in the Elite Cup, the FNCS Weekly Finals this season. So it's working for them as well. They're relying on these big games. And just breaking this down, we can see how good they are at applying the pressure to the teams down below, using that Mythic pistol, using those shotguns, getting inside of the box. And what I really like about the way this duo play, they actually bounce off each other as well. We see Queasy all the way up on top, making sure they're connected on the backside of zone, but Vino, of course, dropping down, getting eliminations, and working together to pinch players. It's a duo to watch. It's a duo to enjoy today, and it's going to be great to see them go head-to-head with Seti.
Queasy and Veno, they definitely found their footing right at the start of Chapter 4, but it's been a slightly different story for their rivals, Seti and Cammy. Takada, what have you got?
I've got a lot, Frankie. Now, Queasy and Vino, they've been showing dominance in these qualifiers, but remember, Cammy and Seti, the invitational champions, the ones that lifted up that trophy. Now, Queasy and Vino, they like playing up in the clouds. However, Cammy and Seti, they like dominating the majority of the real estate in the low ground. This duo is the only duo other than Queasy and Vino to have made it top 10 in all 3 qualifier finals. They are consistent. However, they are also the duo that had some of the fewest eliminations in the top 10. However, they were the duo with the second most victory royales. The issue is, the duo that had the most victory royales was Queasy and Vino. You can kind of see what I'm getting at with the battle we're about to see with these titanic duos. You can see how much they're controlling the late game here, but the issue is, to have this much control in the late game, you have to actually get to the late game. And Cammy and Seti, they're actually contested in their drop spot at Frenzy Fields. So we'll have to see how they're able to manage, because when you're contested in a grand finals, it's not easy to consistently make the late game.
And this is the interesting thing, because you mentioned drop spots. Queasy and Vino, they're pretty much on their own. They're the kings of the north at the top of the map. And if you think back to the FNCS Invitational, when they did make that hot shot, their current drop spot was really hotly contested. I don't know if that maybe played into the reason that they decided to hot drop Cammy and Seti.
It might do. I mean, today we're going to see a little bit of that today. Maybe, you know, of course it's day 1, so not everything is on the line. Day 2 will be interesting tomorrow to see how it develops. But today it's just about getting a solid foundation to build on tomorrow.
getting your foot in the door, right? It's you want to get the nerves out of the way. You want to play those first 6 matches out. There is 12 total matches, 6 today, 6 tomorrow. So it's all about starting strong and then continuing that momentum forwards.
Guys, I haven't had the opportunity to talk about my favorite duo yet. Do you mind? Can I? Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, you know what? We don't have to talk about them. We can talk to them. 11, 2K, and Shio. Bringing on the casters for your European major finals. It's like they've already won it themselves.
Absolutely, Frankie, and it's amazing to be here. Levin, another grand time. It's a fun day.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the weekend. I think when you look at how this season's played out, the stakes coming into this finals are so high. You guys have done a great job of highlighting it. Some of the big name players, the big name teams who just want to come here and perform today.
Well, I remember.
Yo, what's up, guys? In today's video.
11, you said that Vino's the best player in the world.
Yeah.
You still stand by that?
Always, 100%. Look at the confidence from that guy. He's talking, he's literally coming into this saying, you guys predict me to win every finals, and he's right, we do. How many seasons now have we talked about this guy being, you know, one of the favorites to win the whole thing? I think when you look at how they played this season, how can they not be? He is phenomenal. Every aspect of the game, he's so complete. In my opinion, the best player in the world.
He's just the definition of high ground, isn't he? I mean, ever since he started playing with Aqua in Chapter 3, Season 2, they have just been so dominant. I mean, all different types of duos he's played with, all different players. It's just been great to see.
Shio, what about you? Who are you rating?
I'm with Queasy Vino as well. Just watching just the rest of the games from all the weeks so far, they have just been dominant. It's like just watching them win. It's a process right now. In my mind, they've already won. It's just it's business as usual for the duo.
Oh, hold your horses, please, Shio, because we have got 12 games for these teams to compete over, so it's not over yet. But it is time for game number 1. So let's kick off the major finals.
Major 1, and it all culminates down to this. So many weeks of gameplay, a Surge Week in the EU that was absolutely bombastic, Levin. And now we're here, day number 1.
The stakes are so incredibly high, not just about the prizing, not just about the accolades from the fans in your region, it's about the spot at the Global Championships. At the end of the weekend, we'll find out who will be there. What teams are you looking at?
Queasy Vino, for one, we talked about Steady Kemi a little bit. I'm looking at some of the Surge Week teams coming in as well. A lot of these players are maybe, first-time FNCS individuals who are battling against some of the top duos in EU. For me, it's a difference in those types of qualifications and playstyles, Levin. That's the best.
A name I'm going to have my eyes attached to all weekend long is Tayson Mustache, the GOAT of the game in my eyes. Tayson, can he finally win an FNCS again, right? It's been a couple of seasons. I feel like every couple of seasons he has to win, and if he doesn't, something's wrong, right? This might finally be that time.
Well, this is the first step to that. That battle bus is already in the air, flying way past the island. Game number 1 in EU for Major 1 starts right now. So let's jump straight through to the top duos. Is it the Lonely team that locks it in? The Frenzy contested fight that we're going to be looking at. So many options across the entire map.
Of course, bus paths are so important in how these games will play out, right? A lot of people don't realize the bus path, is the only reason why we saw that incredible fight off spawn at the invitation between Queasy Veno, Seti Kami, right? So it plays a big part in these games. Of course, to start things off, though, you highlight Lonely Labs being that first POI. Ping Kyrie, I think a team that, if you're not too familiar with them, this season's really been the time where they burst onto the scene, uncontested at Lonely. How are they going to fare? I think definitely a team to watch out for.
Yeah, Boaz and Jaggy, this is going to be one of those Surge Week qualifiers rocking in. Looking at their perspective against a team that has been here throughout the weeks. Going to be a little bit of an invasion. All around the map right now is going to be high contention, especially that left side near Blackwater Bay. Fights on fights. I think the first game will be the most hairy when it comes to damage off spawn. By game 2, 3, 4, that's where we'll see a lot of eliminations. Right now, Fred Marius, what can you say about this duo watching them throughout the weeks?
I think with this duo, right, it's definitely a fun one to watch out for. Of course, up-and-coming Danish players who look very good. Speaking of Danish players, Steno and Lucia, who are more established than the likes of Fred and Marius, and of course now in this off-spawn battle, gonna have to cook up something spectacular.
Yeah, Lucia having so much trouble with Steno off-spawn. I think that was one of the biggest hurdles in their gameplay throughout Speak Both 1 and 3. Now, hopefully, that's a little bit different, but Piotr and Artur, business as usual, or different faces we're seeing for them fighting early on?
Well, business as usual, right? But I think when it comes to off-spawn, the question I have with this POI is it really something you want to be fighting for? I don't think any team, why? Genuinely, why? I think regardless of which team comes out on top in this fight over the next 12 games, if they do fight all 12 games, I don't really see there being a big winner here. Not much to actually fight for in terms of resources and the position on the map there.
Absolutely. Coop and Cade also rocking in. More of a wild card to get towards the top.
And I see them having 2 eliminations. You know what that means? Mr. Savage and ZX down off spawn here in game 1 and early Shayo. Typically this season, these Anvil fights, they last a lot longer, right? So to see them clean things up so quickly, Coop and Cade is definitely looking good for them.
Completely against the grain. The game 1 fights usually last such a long time, but already knocked bodies all across the field, and Toxic going in for an absolute all-in. Next to his teammates, it's Swizzy and Shimoki. Back and forth on org names and prefixes, suffixes. My eyes start towards the latter than the former, but Swizzy Shimoki, I think the crowd's favorite so far coming in for both the weeks to then Surge Week overall. We could really see their whole story.
Yeah, do not play around with these guys, man. I really think it's rare that you see a team come from a different region and actually really look good, like a real force. These guys obviously came over from Asia. It's their first season here in EU. They're already in the grand finals, and they're already a team that you actually have to be quite worried about if you land near them.
Talk about worried about. I would say it's not Queasy and Vino versus Seti and Cammy. I think it's Queasy and Vino versus all of EU. I mean, these guys ran town week after week with this new major format. It doesn't look like anyone's slowing them down.
Yeah, look, I'll be real. Everybody asks me, you know, Levin, what do you think about the rivalry? I don't think there is a rivalry. I do not think there is a rivalry. Of course, yes, they had that epic battle, you know, at the Invitational, and of course, Seti and Cammy came out on top. But when you look at what Queasy and Veno have done this season in particular, especially compared to their Polish counterparts, I think there's no question about who are the favorites between those two.
I watched you and Jacob talk a bit about Tayson and Mustache as well, back and forth. Now looking at this duel up inside the absolute finals. We'll see if they can really sneak by. You talking about Tayson winning another one of these FNCS's dual style. Would be huge for the man, but I feel like it's just a little bit more of a dual synergy, a more of end-game decision-making that really stops these guys from, you know, getting towards the top.
Yeah, look, these guys over the course of the season, it's been a rocky road at times, but I think they've sorted out mostly everything in their game that needs to be sorted out. It is just about the end games, right? Can they be consistent enough? There's too many times I feel Mustache can be a bit over-aggressive. We know that's how he is as a player. It's what makes him so special, but it can also be his due.
We always talk about the top titans. I feel like the story that's actually told is influenced the most by some of these middling teams. Flixley, Cheatin', they walk in. They're the ones who are actually influencing these big Surge fights that happen. They're the first car that stops in the traffic jam that then turns out to be the whole lobby losing their lives in Storm. It's really interesting to see how some of these teams that land towards the Brutal Passion are trying to make a bigger name for themselves, already a staple in EU. This is a chance in Major 1 at the start of the year to make a big name for yourself and try to get a spot at Global.
Yeah, and it would be perfect, right, in terms of their momentum as a duo, right? Because you're spot on there. They have been elevating in their status within the region. A big performance here, especially coming out of Bastion, where it is a bit contested, would do wonders for them in terms of that rep. They do have to deal with the off-spawn contention there as well to begin with. So a big hurdle to climb, but one that they'll be familiar with.
I'm also liking the ambiance. Talking a lot about the duels, but the ambiance of these
Index
finals
Rapid won, I
in
think.
Major 1, the slow
English
pace,
wala.
the observing from the players onto
Index
other
and Rapid
players.
won.
Fred hunting, tracking his prey.
Nah, no way.
Not doing much just yet, but the first time we're really seeing this entire
No way Index and
map
Rapid
inside
won.
a
bro.
finals as well of this caliber. It's very interesting how the top right hemisphere, all these nooks and crannies of Cliffs play in the mid game.
Yeah, I think this might be the most contested we've
ended
had in
already,
any
let
final
me
of an
check.
FNCS that I've commentated at least, right? So many different Osborne battles now. Maybe not necessarily
Rapid
at the
and
certain
Quindex
sector wide,
fucking
but
won.
all scattered around the maps in these
Yo.
different splits. So definitely going to be a lot of
Fuck
Osborne
no,
battles.
dude.
The most surprising one is Nevs and Pink not
Index
having
and
one
Rapid
for
won.
the Grands to start things off. They're already rotating. It seems like this is a big fix from the weeks.
Yeah, it seems like Fred and Marius did them a favor, right? They said they were going to be landing and contesting them, and then they didn't. So I'm sure Pink and Nevs will be very happy about that, but they have bigger problems to solve, right? This hasn't been the best season for them. Speaking to Pink coming into the finals, he said it's the least confident he's been about their chances in a final, you know, for chapters now, not even just seasons. So it'll be interesting to see whether they can deliver now.
The smile on everyone's face as we see Thomas HD rocking with Malabuka. Just those names, such fear instilled onto everyone else on the server, but haven't been as prominent as some of the other top duos in the region.
I think they've had quite literally a roller coaster of a season. They came in really high, looking like the clear favorites. Throughout the qualifiers, things looked shambles. It didn't look like they were going to be a threat at all. And then in the past like week and a half, it's gone back the other way, where it's like, oh no, these guys can really win the FNCS final. I think definitely a team that, when they get things clicking in endgame, obviously, you know, we've had some of the analysts talk about how big solo clutch is always possible from both players, right? Thomas and Malabuka being the two best in that regard for a long time. guard for a long time now. But together, a very, very powerful force.
Speaking of a duo that's powerful together, Grolls, Orcadia, Fire Bro, week to week on aggression. And this is where some of these fights start overall at the Bastion. Since it's end zone, things start to literally slow down, and Rolls' aim really hasn't changed. Still hitting every shot that he can. All matters for Surge.
Yeah, and this season more than ever with that red eye, we're seeing the surge thresholds be as high as ever. Got to be dealing damage at all times. The good thing about all those teams in the sort of, northern side of the map in that brutal Bastion area is that Queasy and Venom will have plenty of opportunities to get involved and get their surge dealt with, which is something we've seen them do quite a bit. They actually play it quite split as well, right? So have to be a bit more alert and careful. What do we have here?
What's happening? Half the inventory gone from Seti. Looks like it might have just been an inconvenient all-in, or they got caught being slightly split on rotation. Center zone almost, so I'm not sure exactly why their fight started, but their HP pool kind of down. Seeing Floki and Bad Sniper, first of all, I just wanted to say this for weeks. It's insane that this duo is even a thing, because for seasons, I watched both of them create some of the most toxic patterns, trio against trio, some of the most unfortunate storylines in the last moments of some finals. Them together now look strong, Levin. But I feel like some of that resistance sometimes is still kind of there, them being a new duo overall.
It's weird. I feel like you could say that about almost any French team in the lobby, and I agree with the sentiment completely. But you're so right. It is good though to see them looking good in this first game, right? In terms of that loot, I've had questions about whether or not they were going to be okay in that regard, but certainly not looking too bad here in game one. And a generous zone pool will go a long, long way as well.
Seeing the perspective of pressure for Mixon and Blocka right now. Blotcha and Mixon will be seeing exactly what they can do. From this spot, we can already see a bunch of duos already rotating. Cammy and Pink actually going head to head. The Siptos Clement also up in the business. Never really separated. And right now, just have to lock it down.
Ooh, Bevies and Pablo.
Scary.
Has been on an absolute roll so far this chapter, and look at that. I wouldn't call it lucky. You do make your own luck, but surviving there with 1 HP is a sign of what they've been all season long. They're fighters. They survive.
Thriving now too. I like their names back on board.
Yes.
Right. I do kind of miss Albi. But it's all good. Sen and Lucia getting pressured once again. They've had a lot of experience off spawn on relieving this, but a mid-game fight that goes this high has to have a little bit of fear involved for the duo, no matter how experienced you are. Usually when you elevate a base, you're kind of understanding what's happening around you from long range, but panicked into the situation, any duo can look up high and try to strike them down.
Yeah, especially when they got to move relatively far in the zone. Of course, fortunately for us, right, with all the action going on in this grand final, we can't possibly keep track of it all. So as good as we are, so we have one of the best analysts in the game, Miniminer, here on the sidelines to give us an update on Queasy and Venom.
Thank you, Levin. Now, you guys mentioned that these guys are playing very, very split, and in fact, they absolutely are. We see Veno building a huge base, getting amazing surge tags on the teams that are landing at Brutal Bastion, but more importantly, he actually gets pushed here, but he does, of course, have that Shockwave Hammer, identifies that there's a team keying him, and then gets back to Queasy. Speaking of Shockwave Hammers, Queasy also has a Shockwave Hammer to himself, too, so let's see if this duo can use these to success later on in the game.
Hey, look, I'll be real. I'm surprised he didn't just 1v2 them. It's right up his alley, right? When you know, Vino is a player. I'm sure he could have handled it, but waiting till some of the latter games before he starts showing us that level.
Like I see, people might just start taking text out of their book and landing on them instead.
Yeah.
Not letting him play. Give Vino a gun. That's when he's the most dangerous. So you gotta guard him when he gets out of bed. That's the only way to stop this guy from hitting shots. JJ2 with glove sheet, still up in this fight. The zone's kind of rocked through too. Always these super skyscraper type vertical builds are the issue. JJ2, uncharacteristic miss on that shot as well. But they've got time to rock it out.
I'm surprised how much control, though, Lucian Steno are allowing them to get there in this fight. They're really just dictating how things are going. It's like these guys aren't being allowed to play their game at all. And you're seeing now Steno down to bare bones in HP. Lucia getting pushed down, knocked now.
It's gonna be at the cost of Lupshi. His HP's kind of low. Siphon coming in though. And yeah, on defense, top down. Lucia allowed some of the shots that were coming through. Still, doesn't matter. Both duos now down.
You know, we always talk about coming into grand finals. It's a different level completely. Nerves start rolling through. Maybe we're seeing that there from some of the Danes, not looking confident in that fight at all.
Rose and Firebro 2 up in this situation. Not gonna be what they're usually looking at. Cheating now down. Siphon in. Brutal Bashing gonna be a long ways from where they need to be. The furthest duo from safety right now inside the map. Here's the replay of that fight. All these players were controlling a little bit of that high ground. Players didn't even know what was going down. 800, 900 damage above Surzer, quadruple digits going into this mid game, but they need to survive that circle. Endelix going down to Mappy. Deox up inside the box as well. It's gonna be tough, but Mappy's there to make sure everything's held down. Still one more person. Shock with him to get him out, and he's the one that takes the damage. 6 HP, ticked by zone. Has a little bit of time, but he might be just sent home in just a little second.
Yeah, she's gonna get the res off. Surely not, right? Sprays start coming in. They're not gonna let him get out, are they? They're gonna just keep taking shots at his wall so he can't pick Diox up. Maybe they could drop down and get it. This is really one of the toughest zones they're gonna get all day. We're all the way here in the northwest of the map. They obviously land way down in the southeast. And so even if this game doesn't go too well, they can almost chalk it down to, hey, we got unlucky with the zone. Let's go again next one.
The zone affecting a lot of duos across the map. Uncharacteristically, we saw Time at Deciptos in a good spot there, taken down. Restguard as well. Tayson actually picking up Deciptos with a knock. Scram and Trippin alive and playing it safe. One of the only duos to move in very early, but at a cost of just a little bit of their both mats and some of the resources they have in the inventory.
I think the big thing with Scram and Trippin, right, is that they're not necessarily the flashiest of names. When you talk about, you know, grand finals experience, these guys have so much of it, right? Very, you know, composed players. I'm sure they could provide for some surprises this weekend.
Trippin's like the least nervous person I've seen. Where man is just a chill vibe.
Yeah, for sure. One of the most experienced players there is in competitive Fortnite. I've been playing literally since the beginning of competitive Fortnite, so he's been through it all, played with the best of the best. It's been the best of the best. Yeah, trying to do his best with Scram this weekend. Of course, his former teammate on our screens there, Thomas and Malabuka playing with him now this season. Queasy and Veno, 242 above on Surge. Not the highest amounts. I'm sure they'll look to do a bit more damage. There are opportunities all around them.
Queasy with huge shots too, to add to a little bit of that surge. As soon as he puts it up, it starts to go down. You can follow a few of these plays too, up on TikTok, FN Comp Official. It's amazing. Paco Moraine, consistent. I would say that is this duo's tag. Find a way to stay invisible, make it towards spots where consistency placement matters, and then hopefully they're awake for the pop-up. We've seen it from Moraine, but it's flip-floppy. Janice and Reason, where have they been?
That is a great question. It's been a roller coaster of a season, right, for them. Of course, Janice trying to defend his championship, right, this weekend. Of course, there was the invitation in between, but the last sort of FNCS we had in this online format was won by Janice and Vidil in EU. And this season playing with Reason, not been quite as smooth as his time with them, and of course landing here in a different POI, different side of the map to what they've been used to so far this season. So definitely questions to be asked of them this weekend.
The questions all across the board, really. Who's getting elims? What's going down? Thomas HD shows us firsthand. Very easy drop down. I've seen this 1,000 times. In Chaos, though, taking a lot of damage. Usually it's a lot cleaner.
Yeah, did take a big chunk of damage there, but I do like what I'm seeing from them, right, in terms of being aggressive. We talk about it so much, but there's a lot of players in this lobby who just aren't as experienced. They are very nervous. They're going to be sitting there trying to hold their walls, hold their floors. Nah. You ain't holding your wall against Thomas HD and Malabuka. You better give it up.
I mean, he has the strength, but is this like his old man Logan arc? Does his man take too much damage now? Is he slower on the push? Or are we still looking at peak Thomas HD?
You know what, yeah? I think it feels that way, but this is still a player who, his aura alone should make him feared in lobbies like this.
Love to see that. Yeah, immediately drops down in the middle of 4 different duos. Not even a care in the world. Metal base up top, the user duo we're looking at. Caused some of the most ruckus on screen. Hasn't claimed the eliminations from it though. Lots of damage. And they were the ones we just saw fighting earlier on south of the mountain. Finally in. Slide inside the box, doesn't matter. Mappy able to get Deox up, and they're actually fighting the duo that was right below the Deox. A hurricane in the box, but whether clear from the user duo, not without too much turbulence. So another duo rocks in. It's Nebs just trying to survive down below. Picking up a few. Just one for now. Pink has gone down. He has to expend everything. Just have a say at the table, but he gets blown up too.
The Excalibur as well, taking him out. That's not something you see very often.
Chawa and Joker, they kind of have the driver's seat in terms of what's happening. They're seeing, they're dictating. The captains of the ship is where the pressure gets put down. But now it's time to go main overboard. Have to go max zone rotation all the way forward. Perceive, crazy. Saw their amazing qualification to Surge Week as well. Absolutely amazing.
They were the last team to make it into this lobby, right? 5th place on consistency. We saw plenty of passion from Perceive in those games. And passion isn't going to be enough in these lobbies. You have to deliver. You have to be on point with your strategies. That's going to be the biggest test they've ever had as players in this lobby this weekend.
Absolutely, the stakes highest for them. Literally 50th place statistically coming in to a 50 duo lobby. Pressure, not much because you just have to perform. Belusi Vortex, the first ones to jump. Everyone now going towards the zone. Queasy on the right, Belusi interrupted by a tree. Doesn't matter too much as someone says hi through a window. If Bevy's down below, they're gonna be right by his box. That is danger.
Yeah, of course, with so many hungry duos around them, they themselves might need to get a bit aggressive with their surge situation. 100 of us in the most comfortable spots to be at.
It's so tough. A pit stop here doesn't give you new tires. It costs you fuel. It's really hard to stop in the middle of the entire map to try to get a bearing. If you do, you end up like Firebro, picked up by Artskill. One of the duels probably towards the north side of the circle. The most empty right now. Bassaber and Floki find a way in the middle. Cherry and Gira still chilling up high. They've had a really good control of this game overall. Have the most northern point of the zone. Has been pulling up and up and up. So they might get this next one pulled as well in just a second. Yep. Amazing. They have positioned perfectly Janus and Reason right behind them.
Shire's got the script for this season's finals. I'm sure you'll be getting a bunch of DMs from players. Where's the zone gonna go next game? Let us know. For the players who didn't necessarily get the most favorable pools, you're gonna be hoping you have a hammer.
That's the whole lobby.
Yep. Yeah, quite literally the whole lobby. Make sure you have a shockwave, hammer, or prepare to face peril as you try and move towards that north. Of course, there is a bit of a mountain there as well, so we'll see changes in elevation as players traverse through these zones. Queasy and Vino, they'll be vibing in that regard as long as they can stick together and don't get pushed through any of these builds as they move on through.
That's 2 hammer shots from Queasy. They don't go exactly right, so a few hairs in the plan already. Lucia not gonna make it. JJ picking up another one, so in terms of absorbing pressure, that duo is doing so well. Vortex,
Wow.
Belusi laying traps. If you don't have a hammer, be the hammer and take down Vino. He's going down immediately, so Queasy's gone too. The one duo we expected to have a rain on EU, gone in game 1. All good though, climb up that mountain. Pablo Wingu, up top, he might just be the name to fear for these 12 games.
Queasy and Vino aren't there. Someone's gonna fill in on the shoes. Bebies and Pablo Wingu. They've had such a good season up to this point, and they're showcasing what they can do here from above.
Seti's gone too, JJ 2 down, he's not picking up anyone. Chari in the box, he wins this once. That's gonna be big. It's Perceive who gets knocked.
You can see here, plenty of loot now. The shockwave hammer there gonna come in as well. Tripping and Scram there, trying to make some devious plays here. They sense someone, they smell them, they want to snuff them out. On the other side of this wall, a double pickaxe to get in the box. He didn't see it coming, and they take him out with ease.
As they all get absolutely sludged down in these builds, going for even more trip and another person in the box. He's going directly for a hostile takeover. Meanwhile, There are some shady tactics from Tayson being tased on the high ground, still looking to see exactly what he wants to do. Now looking towards the backside of the zone. They don't have the distance yet, the power to really usurp height. They're focusing on as many healings as they can all the way towards the back. The Shotgun Hammers got them down. Meanwhile, Pablo Ingo and Bevies, they're still bopping kids all the way towards low ground. T-Chip's not a problem. Shamoki, no chance whatsoever. And then they jump down. Tripper and Den gets to retain height. Pablo Ingo takes it back. It's a seesaw up in the sky.
Dropping down all the way to low, and they're trying to create some space now. They want to control all the boxes as players just continue to walk on through. Not a duo you'd associate with being a powerhouse, but they have been mighty powerful in this game so far. Vortex and Belusi, we already know they've taken out top dogs, but they want to take out more.
They have time in mid though. Those were the stories. That tripping with power. Belusi on the other side. All the way near mid has that momentum. Chari as well on that low ground. Lots of momentum. Reason going down to the Belusi. Looks like Vortex and Belusi are the interrupters, the disruptors of the lobby. Here's Chari still trying to really hold low as much as possible, but that zone is going right back up a mountain.
They're so desperate though. They needed that loot. Those mats are going to work wonders for them. Tripper now, he's lost Scram and he needs mats himself. He needs to hit a big shot. It might not be enough for him though. He needs to stay alive. No, eventually taken out.
It's Pablo Ingo goes down up close and personal. His dual Bevy's lost in the storm. Up in the box one, we want to get first attach, but he has no gloves on. His fist hit harder. Has to just hold on to this med mist. He cannot stop giving himself health. He has to wait for the actual shot, and it's good. Buying himself a little bit of time to get all the way back. Tayson hears that happen and doesn't like it. No mats. Has to find a shot. Pablo Ingo ticked out. Now just 6 duels left. 8 players. So many solos. Chari and Giras have just absolutely held on to the absolute torment on low, and they're still not stopping.
8 eliminations for Chari, 4 for Giras. They have 12 in the game. They're looking for more. Janus just might walk into their sights. He needs to defend himself. Tayson's still lurking in the back of the zone. The Buell trying to take players out while gliding through the sky. Chari and Giras, this might just be their game. This might just be their moment. Only a couple more players now, just the one left to take out. Can they do it? It's gonna be the final shot connected. Janus stood no chance. Wow, what a first game.
Absolutely insane. 14 eliminations, but I have 2 syllables. Power and 2 more. Control for this duo. That's just so calm, so strategic. They kept to their box, the only duo alive.
That is how you start off the grand finals of the FNCS. Where there were so many solos left at the end there, they stood as the only duo and they just cleared people out.
مرة ثانية
نور
رافض صورت رافتك اياه انت؟
كان وين شوي بالضبط؟
من وين تجي؟
شو اسمه ثالث جيم. لا تذكر لما كنا لو جراند خذينا اول واحد لو جراند.
خذينا اول واحد.
مترو.
I don't remember. I think yeah I think I did. Yeah.
لما انت دمجت انت بعد.
يقطون. كريسي يو ات وورد كاب ان شاء الله برو.
يقطون.
ان شاء الله.
مستحيل.
شو شات والله. تيم برو اي لاعب بعد الموتة والله يا انه بيقول البطولة راحت. شات شوف الموتة شوف الموتة واحكم. Watch your spawn, see who tried griefing you. There was 2 teams, Puma. 2 teams. People want to donate, open alert. Insanity, thank you for the $3. Okay, I'll open alerts. My bad. Sorry. There's just a lot, bro. I appreciate the donations and stuff.
نشوف.
بس عشان يعني يسمعونا الشباب. Verify game file. نعم.
لو شفت هوي.
Not down.
لا كان فيه.
لازم كام والله. خليني الحين هارو انا معرق وجهي ما ينشاف الحين خليني
والله ماني شلون طحتني انا. انت طيحتني صار سويت ادت.
وين انا ما سويت ادت كذاب انت. قص علي انت ظلمني. شو وجهك؟ لحظة فكت ثواني بفتح كام. قريت باكا؟ هذه $100 حقت ام بي كي جزاك الله خير.
and Merstash were able to stay up was incredible, but looking at the highlight from the low ground, they really capitalized on every moment they could.
Yeah, they're just hitting every single one of their shots. It's not just it's not just hopping in the box. It's not very, almost flamboyant the way they went about it. They're very, very tactical. They played it very, very well. And the way they took out Janus here, I was almost scared for their lives because I thought Janus was gonna go for a little 1v2. Didn't quite end up happening. They kept their cool, which is not easy to do first game of Grands.
I know that Janus was solo in that final moment, but Janus and Reason, they had a bit of a slow start to this season, and to see them making it to that top 2 is quite exciting. It means that we're hopefully going to see that duo really coming to their own over the next 12 games, or 11 games, I should say.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, they've had a few issues off spawn, especially coming into this. This is one of the questions that we wanted to ask of them. Can they manage it off spawn? But that was a very north zone. That was right in their backyard. So realistically, they should do well in this zone, but they have.
Yeah.
Looking at the leaderboard, though, Merstash Tayson in second place, and Giras Chori in that first place with 121 points. There's a gap right now between first and second place, but let's look at Tayson and Merstash, how they ended up in that second place spot. Now, here they were together, but they got split up earlier, actually, in the late game here. And what I like so much about this duo is they're so strong individually that even though they got split up, they were still able to secure an incredible amount of placement points, but also elims on the side.
Yeah, we saw Tayson there up on high ground, but he had no materials. It was a result of being split. You didn't have your teammate beside you to, when they pick up refreshes, you don't benefit if you're not with them. So we saw Tayson there all the way up on high ground. Of course, we saw Merstash going down in the storm there as well. It was a tough one for those guys, but they still haven't found that game where they've been able to dominate on high ground. They've been able to dominate on low ground. They're still trying to find that identity. Hopefully, we'll find that in the next 11 games.
Now, 7 zones in, Vortex and Belusi, they take down Queasy and Vino, the high ground kings. And that means that Pablo and Bevies, they establish themselves as the high ground kings.
They did very well as well. They did exactly... They might have watched the top of the show here. They might have watched the beginning of the show to see how to play high ground from Vino and Queasy, and that's exactly what they did. Of course, they're spraying down so well with that Mythic Pistol, applying the pressure, and this is what I really love. They only had one hammer, but they used it so effectively. Bevies actually shockwave hammering Pablo to the front side of zone just to make sure that nobody else could claim it. Got the huge refresh there as well, and they, although they couldn't come out with the victory, they ended up playing on high ground so well, picking up loads of eliminations.
They've got the high ground masterclass, but also a side note is that we did see Queasy and Vino go down. I believe it was first moving zone, so they capitalized on the high ground being open, and they really took advantage of it.
Yeah, we talked about all season, really. When Queasy and Vino aren't in the game, high ground is a little bit more crazy, but in that game, they played very, very well and held it down.
Now, there is a team that didn't make the top 10 this time round, but definitely impressed you guys in the lobby today, and that was Hellfire and Resguard, because it's Storm Surge time. So let's talk, as the studio turns purple, about why this duo managed it so well in those first few zones.
Storm Surge is such an important element of the game, such an important mechanic, because if you don't do enough damage, the lobby's going to start doing damage for you. And this is where Hellfire and Resguard were able to pick up loads and loads of damage. They actually boxed up separately on the south side of this zone and just capitalizing on all of the players rotating in. So Carl, this was the first zone, and they were able to pick up so many tags.
And not only that, Mini, they got their tags. They did it effectively as they were split up with their towers. But also, once they saw that the zone pulled north later, they were very quick to get on the rotate and make sure they don't get caught behind, since being on the south side of the zone here, as it pulls north, a majority of the duos will end up rotating through there. So we can see on the map here actually where the first zone was. And you can see it's already kind of on the northwest side of the map here, and they were positioned on the south side, just a bit separated from one ridge to another. And then right when the zone closed, they made the rotate north, and they already had their damage.
Yeah, they honestly have one of the best drop spots in the game because they're right in the center of the map. But with that, you have to manage your Storm Surge correctly. And this is what I really like about the way they did this. They actually got so many tags, enough so that they could actually rotate early to the north side of this zone. As we saw, that zone did pull very, very north. So it allowed them just to get ahead of all the other players that were behind, and they didn't get caught in that zone.
As a very experienced player, Takata, would you rather be in a congested drop spot to farm that Storm Surge, or would you like a bit more of a breathing room and to go and hunt for it instead? What's
Look,
best?
being contested off spawn can be difficult in grand finals, but if you need that damage and you're not contested, you need to find a position where you have vision on one of these contested areas, whether it's another drop spot or it's an area where a lot of these duos in your surroundings are going to be rotating through, so you can get based up before they rotate and capitalize on that rotation to get the damage you need.
Are you expecting a similar top 10 going into the second game?
I'm hoping that Queasy and Veno can clutch up and pick up some more points, but we'll have to see how it develops. It's only game one. There's plenty.
Yeah, it's not game one anymore, my friends, because it's time for game number 2.
Pow, boom, ah, help me. So many different sounds in game number 1, Levin. You love to see it. And game number 2 should not be any more exciting. It has to be just on par, in my opinion.
I want to hear more of those sounds, right? But from the players as we head into the game, because there is so much going on all around the map, Shai. I think when you look at that first game, of course, a very, very northern pool, will we get another one of those? We know how much they impact things.
Yeah, I'm going to call that the taffy game overall, because it was pulling, stretching the entire lobby. This time might not be as chilly. We're here for game number 2.
And a different bus path as we go from the north towards the south. Of course, you got to be careful if you're some of those teams running towards the middle of the map. Chari and Gira, they're getting this fight started.
Ooh.
Right off the bat, of course, the game one winners up here against Ark and Zaka, and
What?
things nicely.
What has Ark found himself? And he's like, what's happening? This wasn't the plan. Giras 1-on-1, Ark down. Zaka's got the HP. Start popping for Chari. This is like tale as old as time. Every finals I've seen. Unknown duo comes in. Now we have so many questions. Us spawn game 2. They win the first one. But they're gone. Might not be the case here though. The rest comes in for Ark. Now it's a 2v1. Chari running out of ammunition. Cow catchers maybe. Matt's on Zaka's side too because he's got the full siphon. And Giras. But I think he just gets the card and he's just kind of gone. A little bit better position. Former Matt Zaka. Ark with a cheeky shotgun blast.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the duality of Fortnite here, right? You start game 1, you win the game, everything's looking good. Game 2, the shambles off spawn and the game's looking like a lost cause. Of course, there is still hope in this one for him, especially if he does have that card already. Glide away, loot up and regroup. Of course though, Ark and Zaka, the team he's facing off against, they came through via Surge Week, the best team in terms of consistency there. They put on a dominant performance. Of course, that lobby is a completely different ball game to this one here. Fred and Marius, Shayo, they're winning off spawn this time round and dealing with things quickly.
That has to be 2 for 2. This is tough. This is the difference. I don't think Jaggy and Boaz on Surge Week had anyone really landing here at all. They had free in to play their games. They had a chance to dominate for a win.
Yeah, they obviously got a team that came in for a win. But the problem with Jaggy and Boaz is that they've not played actually any like set lobbies outside of that, right? They've not been a team that's had a chance to play on the stage and really get the reps in. And so coming in against a team like Marius and Fred, who will be a lot more confident, especially in such a 50-50 off-spawn battle, it's going to be a rough weekend for them if they don't start to improve their drops a bit, maybe.
Chari not going to be up to par in this game 2. Winner from game 1 has a little bit of a 30-point lead. That'll always change, so they'll be able to stay in that top 5. Malbuka on this side. Not too much of a showing in that first game in terms of control with Thomas. But it's always kind of rocky when the zone kind of pulls towards your zone and then it does something irregular like we saw last game, continues going north. It's an expectation that just absolutely flubs some of the most experienced players. There's always a little bit of a back and forth. That's one of the harder zones to play over at Slappy. Taste and Mustache. We didn't get too much of an insight at the beginning of their story. But last game, we did see how well Tayson was at taking the space that Mustache has and landing lots of crucial shots to get them many eliminations before endgame even started.
Yeah, I think with this team, what we've seen from them this season shows when they are uncontested at the north side of Slappy, they've still been, you know, that team where you look at them and go, yeah, that's Tayson and Mustache, right? Still been dominant, still been powerful. I think the times when they were contested and they didn't look good is when people start to go, hold on a minute, what's going on with these guys? This season's not been as great. But now that they're playing the finals uncontested, I'm very excited to see what these guys can do. Would have been my picks to win the whole thing. But it's just Queasy and Venom, man. Something about them two Just gets me very excited going into endgames.
Do you get worried if, like, in game 3, they have no sense of control? If they keep going down, like, top 20, can't make it past that 5th, 6th zone?
Queasy and Venom?
Yeah.
I don't start worrying now.
Really?
I don't start
When
worrying
is it
now.
time to worry if any of these top teams don't play how they did in the weeks, any of the top 5?
Well, look, let's take you back a couple seasons, right? Even back to the last chapter when Queasy was playing as Pen. Awful day 1. One of the greatest comebacks you've ever seen in day 2, sorry, and they finished like 8th, top 10 still, even after finishing way down in the standings day 1. If you are one of those elite teams, the tier 1 teams, you ain't got to really worry until maybe game 2 of day 2, right? Game number 8. So I'm cool. Today I'm cool. Regardless of what happens, I'm still riding with those guys, still confident in their ability.
Amazing. Entertainment today. Expectations, get a feel for the lobby for some of those top teams. There's only a limited amount of comebacks allowed on that day 2, though, so then we're going to be able to see exactly who's in contention. Right now, the user duo actually getting picked apart, or attempted to. Trade on one side. Deleox down in the box. It'll be good for Pixie to be able to just pick him up, or at least keep him safe, use him as a pressure tool. But there's another duo coming in from the side, a classic third-party situation.
Yeah, Delay and Pixie, as impressive as they have been at times this season, as hard as they've worked, this side of the map today is just so contested. There's so many different teams landing here that any fight you get into, you can't even call it a 2v2. You just have to expect other parties to start getting involved all throughout the day. You're going to see this, and this time around it's Bad Sniper and Floki trying to get in on the action. They will get the revive off, which is good for Pixie and Delay. Still, it's looking a bit rough when it comes to standing in this fight. Bad Sniper and Floki still just going to sort of lurk around, wait for that opening.
And they're gone. I was about to say, is this really crucial to their game plan? I mean, they have zone. They could really invest a lot to this and try to find a fight. But as you mentioned, Levin, with how contested things are on this side, you break a twig, it sounds like a gong, like church bells across the entire map. You have to be a little bit more hesitant in the fights you take.
And I think the big problem that a lot of teams will face in those kind of situations is when you're making that decision, you're always thinking to yourself, Surge is way harder to get in these games, right? If we can get damage here, should we just take it? Should we sacrifice positioning and our rotation to just be able to get that damage off? If you're scramming tripping, you're just gonna walk into someone's box, take a couple shots and take them out of the game. That's CZB that gets taken out, so it seems like Nipsey's down as well. Maybe Seti was the one to pick up that first elim onto Nipsey, as we know they are contesting each other at Frenzy.
Seti and Kemi taking a lot of damage moving through these games. Kind of prevalent of how one of their weeks went just on mid-game rotation. Somehow, every single time, privy to the biggest base that was available, you're shooting down on them. Anvil square fight, you said it lasts a while. We're almost going to be close towards that second zone. Savage and his duo still here.
Yeah, well, this is back to normal, I guess, right? Because if you've been paying attention this season, these fights at Anvil, they last so long, often get drawn out. In game 1, Caden Coop rolled through, sweeped up Savage and ZX nicely, made it look easy. But here in game 2, a bit more of a stalemate.
That's Hellfire who's making it a problem for many people around the map. And just such a good spot. You can see everything all around. F-Scar next to him as well, seeing a little bit of a very large split, a different mountain, almost on the same side.
And this is how they've been playing it all season long, right? Anybody in that area of the map is going to look at that base and they're going to know that's Hellfire right there. They've been playing it that way all season long, but it's effective, it works for them. And they're definitely a sleeper team, a dark horse in this lobby.
Well, he's definitely that guy, that first zone now. Locking through, they get even more customers to their low surge base. The Shockwave Hammer may as well just be a bat signal in the sky. Grows gonna make a lot of noise coming in. And there it is, the base finally active as he starts to build a bit. Firebro does not make it in. And we pull towards the same side on the top left. Welcome to EU Finals. We only have space in the server for one zone each day. We'll keep rocking it over and over again. Who does this benefit the most? The top left.
It's our boys, Queasy and Vina, right? You know, any zone towards that northern area is going to be good for them. Of course, last game it didn't quite click, but give them a lot of zones. They will eventually show you what they can do with them.
Way.
I like this though, right? Using that shockwave hammer just to get his teammate in, barely with the timing, but unfortunately, Malibuka's not gonna let him have it. Oh no. Fire goes down. Malibuka and Thomas are now pushing their way in. And as good of a player Grols is, this will be a very difficult 2v1 situation for him.
I was about to say, it'll be entertaining to watch Malibuka just kind of maybe play with his food. Maybe there's like a little bit of a chance for Goals to clap back. You see Thomas dive through.
Back.
Yeah. When it's both of these two, there's no chance. There's no chance for the food to fight back. It's a chainsaw against a cooked fish. There's no... It's delicious, you know? It tastes good, but...
Unstoppable force.
Yeah.
Unstoppable force.
Very movable object.
Very movable object with an unstoppable force. But Grols has done a good job of staying alive and getting out.
Yeah.
He's just moved up a bit in elevation. The thing is, Malibuka and Thomas, they will need this search. They need to deal damage here at some point. So even if they are going to look to get out here and hammer, it will be to try and set up to find that damage later on as they move towards the zone. Of course, they can't just sit here way out in the east. They need to start moving towards the west and look to hold those guys in as they come on.
Absolutely. Surge, a big thing right now for so many teams as the game slows down. What does Taco have in terms of what's going down with Surge?
Well, it's a good point, Shadow, because Surge is the last thing that any of these duos want to be worrying about. And as far as Seti is concerned, he's got every single one of his corners covered, just being really proactive around Frenzy Fields, making sure to make frequent rotations, even utilizing some of the natural bush terrain to keep himself a little bit more covered while he's also finding those Surge tags. But I'm interested to see how they rotate without having to worry about the Surge.
Thank you so much, Taco. Absolutely. They're looking really good at horizontal Surge for the moment. Vertically, Hellfire has them locked down. They fixed that, and they kind of control the lobby.
Yeah, and I think it's, although it's a far pull in the zone for them, it's almost favorable in the sense of all those teams behind them, the likes of the Dialects and Mappies, they're going to have to rotate alongside. They can milk them for Surge as they rotate up towards that Citadel area.
Now we look at Keandro and Wafflar. Trying to go for their fights. That ball we saw a little bit earlier inside the game. Nice drop down. You have to make sure you have every single wall. If you don't, you might just get clapped.
Big props to Vexy and Debut. I think when you look at how they've played this season, many instances just like that where they're box to box with each other. Clearly got great fundamentals in those close range fights, and it's paying dividends right now for them. Bigger limb there in terms of keeping them in the game, in terms of a refresh and then Surge as well. But Lucy, shots through trees, he does it all.
The Leaf Man.
The Leaf Man.
Oh man, but their game starts a little bit more towards the end cycles of these zones. Amazing to see both Vortex and Belusi just take away mid-ground layer after mid-ground layer, absolutely taking control of the end game. Coming to Siptos, their issue has just been positioning, getting into this third, fourth circle, finding a good spot to kind of start their story. If it has bad grammar, if it has a little bit of a finicky start, it's gonna be tough. You can't even see what you're reading or writing. Coming to Siptos, up inside the storm in a bush against a duo, against 5 different teams, somehow make it in. They take out Mr. Savage, who's still chilling in Anvil Square. That's where we are.
I said the fights last long, Shia. I wasn't lying to you.
We'll spawn in and try again. ZX is just gonna be sitting back there as Vico tries to guard that same spot too. Surely this duo has to get out, and now they do. The pace for this game will have been so different.
Very, very different, right? We're seeing a bunch more of these fights in the zone. Again, players so desperate for Surge that they're willing to just stick around if it means they can deal the damage. But the problem is, right, when you're trying to get in, all those teams really based up. You can see in the bottom right, all those little arrows watching towards the zone line, and it's going to be so difficult for Clement to get in here and just find any sort of breathing room. Going to have to use all that metal to create space and all the chug splashes to get his HP back up.
He has the room to breathe now, definitely, but this duo has ran out of total oxygen available. By that I mean just the HP they have inside their inventories. Levin hit it right on the head of the nail there. So many splashes used, and that was kind of their get out of jail plan for this next rotation. They don't have that now. Meanwhile, this might as well be a different region, a different game over at the Citadel.
They ain't got to worry about any congestion on zone lines at all. They can sit perched up here, looking from above. 489 above for a less experienced team in the second game of the FNCS final. This is brilliant stuff for this team. It doesn't really get much better than this.
This has to be a game that you can convert into huge points. This is where you take control, you take power, but you make it a top 5. You make it a VR, because you only get maybe 4 or 5 chances inside the 12 games.
Doesn't come often. You have to take your shot. Tayson and Mustache, they have a far rotation to make. They have to go up and around this hill here.
Don't do
They'll
it,
be
bro.
very cognizant of the teams around. Wow. Tayson taking down Clown.
Any other player, that's just a little bit of a tag. With Tayson, 3 shots, you're down. A quick pickup, and now Frey is frowning. This is just tough. Tayson and Mustache will be able to bounce all the way in. It's an absolute blunder, and that's going to be horrible timing. Another one in, but they may as well just ran it for now. Revenge from Frey's side. They're going to be taking a lot of ticks from the zone. I see no splashes in Tayson's inventory. Who needs splashes? Get a refresh. Why am I worried? I'm going to calm down.
A bump in the road, right? A bump in the road, definitely, but not a complete roadblock. They will still be able to make their way towards the zone, and I was questioning their situation with Surge. They dealt with it very easily in front of our eyes here.
Somehow Girls and Firebro have gotten to this spot. I swear I saw Firebro go down right off spawn. Now they're looking so good. With so much util, maybe the match of the issue. Firebro locking in and switching straight to Girls. I like that. Super micro adjustment at the very last second there. A few duels right in front of them who chose to go to sleep. All good. The shot stopped, and they get all the way in. Coop distracted by someone else who's on the left side of the zone. Hydro fast Roki side by side. They can definitely be powerful, but the danger here, the TNT, the explosive duo, Bevies, Papa Wingu, they can smell if you're taking damage. Like sharks, they'll attack.
Yeah, and Zara split up from Zangi. I thought I saw Zangi above there, so you're seeing here the effects of not being with your duo. You lose each other very fast. Bevies and Pablo, though, they are down on Surge. And for a team that has looked so good in so many competitions this season, to see them down on Surge here again, it's just a sign of how difficult this lobby is.
They just need to be put in a spot to fight. Unfortunately, with the way the zone's been going right now, fight's not as favorable. Don't have as much time to be side by side in the box. They're not like Tayson where it's just pot shots left and right that hit so hard. They have to be able to get close and personal. Get those shotguns out, hit that big damage. On this next rotation, it's a little bit slower. They might be able to all in and have some time to keep rolling. Meanwhile, Vino, Queasy, talk about turning a game onto the story mode difficulty. Like they're on the top left, no enemies, no challenge.
This is like the deadest dead side I've ever seen, ever. Like there is nobody anywhere near them right now. They're big chilling on Surge. They're about 500 above. Look, I don't want to speak too soon, Shy Wager, but if this isn't a game where they come out here and really show the world what they can do, then something catastrophic has gone wrong. Everything looks set up perfectly for them here.
The biggest issue I see a lot of the times, it was prevalent a little bit more in trios when we had so much more space control. And some of the early duo days, the zone just pulls opposite 4 times. That might be the issue for Queasy Vino. They have those shockwave hammers. The season is not the worst, but we saw what adjustments look like for that duel in that first game. Some zones went too far. Vanya Karmi, can they adjust when this locks in? What I'm liking right now is that we have a lot of different flavors in the lobby. Last time, the zone was kind of just all about who was Southwest. The entire lobby locked to one hemisphere. This time, it's spreading out a little bit more. Pixie and Delay, from fights to riches. Now all the way up top on the server, they get to dictate where they want to move first. The Ziptos and Clement, this is kind of the perspective of poverty we're looking at right now. Absolutely battered, rammed inside the zone. Barely just in, and housing that's just right on top of another duo's box.
And you look at the material, so they have not got much to work with at all. They're gonna have to jump in a box if they have any chance of surviving.
But it's the likes of Thomas Ishii and Malibuka who are right there side by side. It's high power threshold duos.
And they're max materials as well when it comes to metal, at least, sorry. Still need some brick and wood, but plenty to come.
Thankfully, the zone pulls towards that right side, towards the duos that need a little bit of help. So they just have to climb up slightly, a few meters. For Tayson Mustache, it's a little bit longer. And I don't know what happens as we last saw them, but power definitely gone.
Well, look, they had to use a lot of materials. We can guarantee that because they have not got much left at all. And they do have quite the rotation to make. Of course, the Shockwave Hammer will make things a bit more tenable. But when you're looking at this team, even if they are able to Shockwave themselves in, you know, what they're going to use to build a fortress in the zone, right? How are they going to keep themselves safe? It's looking like a situation where they're going to have to look at a box that they can jump into.
Every duel's in that spot. Resguard right
wow.
behind the duel. He's got no mats. Resguard down. Hellfire went for an all-in. 40 materials for him as well. Bevy's taken out by Clement before he even gets to actually fly. So Clement, so many materials when he needs them most. And it was Tayson that takes out Resguard. So at least gifted 150 mats. Maybe they can make a base now.
Hellfire just based up here, of course, using that Bush Warrior to get his HP up a bit. The remainder of his shields as well. There's a solo in this one. We talked about them being dark horses so far, not the best of starts, and a difficult endgame to try clutch up in with the way the zone's pulling as well.
One of the most difficult. I'm watching something really, really wrong going down on Old McDonald's farm, Levin. Goats falling absolutely over and over again. The entire Elim feed just moments ago was absolutely decorated veterans of the EUC not being able to make that zone.
It's a difficult game. Well, not too difficult if you're delaying Pixie. This is their side of the map. This is where they wanted the zone to pull and they're taking advantage of it.
It's just the easy challenge though. Queasy and Vino will want this spot. They have a launch pad to use as well, but if their landing is not as good as their zone acquisition, their positioning right now, then they're in big trouble.
Pixie and Delay, they're built up so high, right? Obviously up on this hill. And the volume will pull towards the north. Queasy and Vino, though, just waiting their second height, always going to be alert to it.
Has to be a big game for Queasy and Vino to convert. Remember, Levin, they went down very early in that first one.
Yeah, they didn't get the chance to play the game they want to, play the style they want to. There's not going to be many times where the lobby does get that benefit.
It's time to move. Versace Station, completely different type of situation. Max rotate is just Tayson with that shockwave hammer. A little bit of a clip to actually overcome, but they need some type of materials. Versace finds one. They can't actually track his player inside the box. Tayson, Versace having difficulty, and Tayson gets 180'd as he escapes.
And this has been the problem for them, Shayo. Struggling here. They can make it to the end game, so once they're there, finding that consistency. And speaking of consistency, the high ground bosses here in game 2, finally up where they belong.
Ooh, but they're having an actual fight to maintain it. Usually the respect is there for Queasy Vino. Different when you see new up-and-comers looking to take spots, take patterns and playstyles from some of your most elite towards the top. There'll be shockwaves towards the sky. Meanwhile, down low, all the way past the river, down a mountain, through middle. This is tough.
They're gonna have to go all the way down, and a lot of maps are gonna have to be used. So if you want some, you gotta fight for them, and that's what Fred will do. Takes down Xyz. Kodasai now gonna have to scurry away as a solo. They gotta be careful of these players in that wall, on that box, and now they've been taken out. Marius, he can't handle it. It's up to Fred now to get out with that hammer.
No time to think. You can only hammer or shoot. Building, a little bit of an option if you have a mid-ground layer, but this will cost Fred Marius as he makes it here. Queasy, Vino, they hold up top, but Queasy jumps way back in the zone. They might not have mats. I don't think High Ground has mats at all. Vino might have to give it up. Thomas Malabuka all the way down below. Traversing that water now, and Thomas is a machine! Doesn't miss a single shot. This is about to be lethal.
Seti barely getting away by the skin of his teeth. They're chopping height now. They might want to go up and take it. Will they be able to? They got to hold on to their current box though. The shots are being thrown around.
Delay's not done yet. Another big retake up top as this fight's going on for 5 different zones. Up high, down low as Delay takes more shots. Vino then goes back up. Pixie now has control. It's back and forth over and over. Vino's got impulses to use. He does not want to give it up, but Queasy has fallen down. Another trade on the Pixie. An absolute storm up in high ground. And Vexy is now a new contender. Delay, he's won it, but at what cost?
Vino said he wanted to see people go up and try for height. Maybe that was their own call. He's not been able to handle it here. They go down. But Delay himself, after all those battles, he can't even hold it. It's Janice and Reason now. They are the ones up above. They started off well, and they're looking to do it here again in game 2.
Second place in that first game. Looked really good, and this time they can win it. Vexy, though, what an adjustment, and he's almost out of the box. A magician who quite hasn't just perfected that one trick just yet. The Bull has survived and hits big shots as well on his side. Pushed off by someone else's shockwave or impulse all the way on each and every single side. Actually, he's got that power within him. The Bull's looking for the next shot over. Shockwave hammer all the way up top, and he's found a new layer.
He's dancing in these boxes with that 0 chance, making it look fun. But he needs to try to stay in the zone. He's not got the HP to be way out there in the storm. Thomas and Malabuka, though, they've been thriving in this endgame. Not many limbs by any means. but having some sense of control. And just as I say that, Malibuca gets taken down. And so we need to see that solo prowess that we've always known Thomas to have. Can he start to connect? There are some solos in this game for him to fight.
No stranger to the clutch. Snazy going down to Vanyak. Harmy down 2. Delay finally taken away.
Vanyak, the solo clutch king so many times. It's what he's known for. It's his specialty. He's got a hammer as well. Can he hit this shot? Thomas in his box, and he will. Vanyak, even against the best of the best players in the world, he will continue to do it in solo situations, but no, not against the duo of Reason and Janice. We had questions about how well they do today, Shayo. They've definitely started off well.
Under the radar, but in this game, definitely up top and high. I didn't see too much in that first one, but that's vacation time for Janice and Reason.
Look, there's going to be a very strong chance that they're sitting in first place after the 2 games they've started off the day with. And speaking of just opportunists, right? We saw the battle between Queasy, Vino, Delay, and Pixie for 5 straight zones. And at the end of it, even when somebody had won, the true winners came through. Janice and Reason, they timed it to perfection. The zone pull at the end was very generous to pull up the hill here. You can see they can just sit comfortably as everybody tries to squeeze their way up, but still played incredibly well.
Another zone towards the top left. Another big dub for Janice and Reason. 2 just really, really solid, foundational, good games. So far, when it comes to EU, things are looking hot.
Hey, look, I don't want to speak too soon, but there have been 2 very favorable zones for them. And so we have to see if when the zone ain't pulling towards that north, that they can continue to do it. Nevertheless, plenty of updates all across the standings. Frankie, what you got for us?
Well, I haven't got story mode difficulty for you. That is something I can say. Although, if we look at Janice and Reason in those final few circles, they were chilling up top on high ground. No one seemed to be contesting them for it.
They weren't contested. It was a perfect high ground take from these guys. It was timed to perfection. They identified that high ground was such a mess. Why not just go up and take the game?
It's hard to know when's that perfect timing to go up top and take the high ground. And when you see 2 duos battling and one of them drops down, the other one might not have too many materials, you can say, okay, now's the time. Janet's Reason capitalized on that time, and it ended up allowing them to get that victory royale.
Yeah, we had a few questions about Janice and Reason, of course. They are contested, Sarah and Sangi, at that north side of the map. So will they be able to make it off spawn? And those questions have been answered. As Levin said, they have had 2 very favorable zones. So will the
Surprise, motherfucker. Hey, what's up, daddy? Can I get a long dick?
Don't worry, you're like, that's like called a, bro, are you like tripping?
Good luck to you.
So I'm fucking tripping. Dude, are you? I'm tripping. I'm not tripping anymore. I'm him. Sorry. He's in the bush. No! Holy fuck. I'm so fucking fast. He's gonna rush me in a second. It's the bush. dude, like, there's just no way you're sitting in, like, dude, look at you, bro. No way. I mean, this is just looking like a wrap, so I don't get a fat ass refresh. You're like, dude, you are enhance what you're doing right now. Enhance it. Enhance it. Are you enhancing it? Yeah, I'm enhancing it. I'm fucking enhancing it. You're following me, crouching. Fucking bitch! Sit the fuck down! Sit the fuck down! Okay, I'm sitting down. Daddy's in town, motherfuckers. Mas jag kan ta some only. You straight. There's one person right there. He's tracking one. Tracking his own fucking stupid ass.
Surprise, motherfucker.
What up, Andrea?
Surprise, motherfucker.
Wings with the fucking 6 or 5. Get to thank you, bro. Man.
Use code CLICKS
In the Fortnite item shop. Who will? Thank you.
Surprise, motherfucker.
To, you know, check Queasy's social media to see, because in that situation, I don't expect them to ever lose height. And I'll be honest, he did get quite unlucky, right? They got chopped down a couple ways, right? With the nature of the hammers, how crazy things get. We get to see it once again. Who will be victorious in this one? Will Queasy and Veno have another chance at height? Look, I watched the clip from his POV, and look, look, I know I sound like a Queasy fanboy today, but look, they got very unlucky. I think you give them another chance, they win the game.
Sounds like you're doing some post-game interviews with the press. It's really good offense. That's some nice defense, and we'll run it back again. Same game plan. Work on the passing. Vanyak and Karmi. We saw the shots from Vanyak. I feel like this is a rocket-powered duo. One person loses, the other one goes even higher in the stratosphere.
Look, we big up, you know, the likes of Thomas and Malabuka for being top solo clutches. I think if there's one name, one person where they are just the epitome of solo clutch, it is Vanyak.
Yeah.
This guy has provided us so many moments in different chapters now where he's done it over and over again. A fight that keeps playing out over and over again here with Fred and Marius versus Jaggy and Boaz. This time, Boaz was nowhere to be found to help Jaggy, and so now gonna recoup and 1v1, and a big shot connected onto Freddy. Playing field here.
That's just absolutely nutty from Freddy. The speed and obey Marius' body again. Repositioning, final build picks up 3 more. This fight right now is kind of a rite of passage for Boaz and Jaggy. I feel like it's about winning Surge Week and then finding your spot and actually claiming it inside the Grants.
Yeah, and I think the good thing here, right, is that Boaz was able to get the finish. Now, obviously, he didn't pick up the LM, so he doesn't benefit from the Siphon from it, but he will get the Siphon max at least, right? And so should have a material advantage if the fight continues here between him and Fred.
Meanwhile, on the map, the entire mid-game type of flavor is going to be different for the lobby. The user duo no longer active, going down to the likes of Floki and Bad Sniper. That means aggression from box to box. The reason fights start, kind of the matchstick duo. that's in these mountains is not going to be available to play this game. Axe Force up against Delay and Pixie. Both with similar styles of interruption when it comes towards the end portions of the game. Saw some amazing plays from Axe Force and Vortexer overall. Look really good inside that Surge week.
Really good. Like Queasy and Venom ain't on height, it might be them kind of good. They were very impressive in how they played.
I think that's kind of the difference, though, in the way the lobbies play due to format. In Surge Week, with everyone playing for the win, Axe Force Vortexers, they have the space to be able to choose a few fights, to have some breathing room. When everyone's active and online looking for Surge, that's like quad digits all the time. It's not the same lobby.
Yeah, and I think they're going up against a team that they're quite evenly matched with in terms of just how probably people would rate them around the region. In Pixie and Delay, here off Spawn. Of course, Pixie and Delay, I think, have had slightly the better day so far. Slightly maybe an understatement, but would not be surprised if Axe Force and Vortexer start kicking up. The problem is, though, Shai, is that when it comes to these breakwater fights, breakwater can be a very decent spot if you're a soul team landing, you're uncontested. When you are contested, though, you start to wonder if it's worth it, and it might not be for Vortexers and Axe Force, because Axe Force goes down. Vortexers looks like he's going to follow. Does not have any control of any of these walls. Has to jump up and over. Hold on a minute. A big shot there gives him a fighting chance. Delay isn't too healthy, but he will still close things out. I thought for a second there, Vortexers actually had a chance at winning that. That would have been insane.
Delay's there and ironically faster than Pixie. But Pixie definitely had a little bit of fear in the eyes as you saw a man jumping left and right. Zara and Zangi absolutely deleted at the same time. Clone and Jarko. A very clean fight, it looks like, and that's going to be very, very good because a third party coming in, you want to have that HP, you want to have those pools available to go again.
What's up with the fights at these extremities, right? Way on the west, you get these scrappy fights with a bunch of teams third party, and then we're getting it here on the east as well. Of course, Kylie and Vico, the team landing south side of Slappy Shores. And this is going to be their best opportunity for Surge all day long, right? They're going to be hoping these two teams can continue to fight here. And of course, up against Jarko and Clone, as well as they've done to pick up the first two elims, you would definitely expect Kylie and Vico to win this fight out.
It'll go to a little bit of a stalemate. I have a theory on why there's so many extremity fights, though. I think it's because of the way Surge is in mid-zone. If you're not Hellfire or SETI, you're kind of a target that has to respond over and over again. A lot of these players, when they choose the extremities, they can just roll on the side of the map or come in a little bit later. They don't have to be the primary targets of some of the top duos who are getting 1,000, almost 2,000 damage on Surge before endgame starts. So a lot of these newer, less experienced duos, a lot of duos might not have a spot. It might be just a lot easier to understand the game from extremities.
Yeah, I agree with you as well, in the sense of, like, if you're one of the newer teams, right, this meta playing edge zone, you know, Surge is so difficult if you're not contested in some capacity, if you're not taking those fights. I think we saw some of the struggles from Darox and Mappy earlier in the day. Right, and so some of these teams would just rather have some sort of contention in these early fights. Jarko and Clone, though, one of the less experienced teams, and I think when you are one of these teams, you can't afford yourself to get pushed out of the way. It's very easy for some of these more experienced tier 1 players to come in and try bully you out of your area, bully you out of your spot. You've got to hold your ground, show off what you can do. Of course, I talk about bullies coming in Vico and Kylie, and then the bigger bullies tasting the mustache roll through.
I mean, it's just different beasts altogether. You're asking hyenas to go up against lions, and they're watching from outside in towards the den. Just a few dogs fight. The kings, they'll do whatever they want to do.
I like that. Tasting the mustache. Of course, they struggled a bit with Surge in the mid of some of those earlier games, so you can see already the adjustment, just getting a bit more aggressive on that southern fight.
It's because of the way the zone is, especially in those first two games. It was a north to north pole. This time, sunny south. The field's right for harvest. Looks kind of nice, grassy. And the way the zone's pulled right now, it should continue to go south all the way towards water. And like Snazy, big moving. Snazy down right now, and we'll see exactly how that happened in just a second. There should be a reboot van for him to be able to pick up. But this is that fight up against JJ2, a force to be reckoned with, doing really good in game 1.
Yeah, him and Glubshy, obviously, they are no strangers to a early game scrap, and so unfortunately the Frenchies getting a bit of a taste of that. Giras and Chari, though, they actually are going to get the chance to play this game out, not going down to spawn. Of course, the game one winners.
Hey, but this time, no home zone. And you know, even if they don't do as well as that first game all the way through, I think that's still fine. It's okay to be a pop star and have a smash single. Develop your brand, your albums for the next season of music that comes through.
The key is you don't want to be a one-hit wonder.
True.
Right? They have to have that second hit. And even if it does come in a couple games, like you say, that will be more than good enough, especially going into day 2. It gives you a foundation to build off of.
Pablo Bevis, they know their soundtrack. What is it, heavy metal? That's what it feels like. These guys just never stop fighting. And this is, I think, the perfect storm for them. 4 duos side by side. A few they're familiar with. T-Chips, Artsky, I believe they played in the same week. But when it comes to Frey and Clownski, the big thing for Pablo and Bevis, they like these duos that move just a little bit slower off the rip towards the next spot, who are a little bit more methodical. Them going against the grain, scratching that record, it makes it so that their fights are surprising and hit that much harder.
Yeah, but I don't like these fights, man. They get me on edge, right? Seeing all these teams just sort of packed together in this area.
Oh no.
A lot of flat land as well. They're forced to take a box fight, and for Artsky and T-Chips, they are not scared of that whatsoever. Using that Falcon Scout just to get the info as well, weaving it into their play. Artsky needs to be careful. Dodging some shots there from Bevis.
I like the movement from Artsky. It's like he's boxing in front of the mirror. Every time he shoots, he also moves back, and Bevis' shield is now cracked. Artsky looking for his next shot. He's gonna go right inside that box. Bubble Wingle actually taken apart by T-Chips on the other side. He comes in from the right, and it's 2 big blows.
That was so beautiful there. Artsky, he sees Bevis whipping out the hammer, and he just holds the wall to just block him in place, and he can't move. That's a team there that is very confident in their fight. It's really nicely done from the Frenchman.
Yeah, I want to know so much more about the fight, so much more about some of the other duels in the game. So, Taco, what do you got?
Well, we have 2 duos, but they're actually 2 solos at this point. But we're seeing Fred and Boaz going at it over on the north side of the map near Solitary Shrine. Fred actually choosing to utilize a Falcon Scout to try and get some visuals going onto Boaz. But despite having the 1-up advantage here with that Falcon Scout usage, he still actually winds up getting eliminated by Boaz. And now the best part is, in Solitary Shrine with that launch pad, Boaz might be able to find a reboot van for Jaggy.
Thank you so much, Taco. Reboots are a key, and it's really nice to be able to win those early fights. Keep rolling through. Whether it's Jaggy, whether it's Freddy, game to game, someone's got to survive. Jennison Reason. Reason's 14th victory royale overall in the finals. Talk about experience. I mean, this man from the get-go, I think has gone to some of the most trials and tribulations when it comes to any type of player who's kind of a legend, right? From the greasy issues over and over again to swapping your car kind of getting completely patched before the weekend starts, your game plans being flubbed. He's gone through the most.
Yeah, I think when you are talking about the greatest players to ever play the game, he has to be in that conversation. He's won so many FNCS titles. And look, I'll say it here, Shayo, they've started off the day well. Of course, it is still very early doors, but if he was to win the FNCS here with Janice, well, I mean, with Reason, sorry, that would be genuinely one of the best things I think I've ever seen from a player in terms of just nobody expecting you to be able to repeat, nobody expecting you to come back and actually retain your title.
That's maybe what he exactly needs, right? A lot of the time, there's so much pressure around Janice. You know, all these expectations for him to go through. Now he's kind of just fallen in towards the background, gets to just play his game, has Reason as a dual partner too. Might be all good.
The test obviously will be here, right? This is one of the first southern zones we have. How will they handle that? Of course, they've not been landing, you know, towards that sort of northwest area of the map all season long, so still plenty to learn, I'm sure. Crazy and Perceive, they've had to journey the whole distance of the map to be able to get here. Of course, landing all the way in that northeast.
I mean, the biggest issue for that is that they've only really focused on rotation. They've been ahead of every single duo. As you can see that mini-map, it is a little bit of purple on purple, but there's 2 duos behind them. Because they're so far ahead, they haven't had a chance to actually stop, shoot back. They haven't really had a chance to go for any damage, really. 51 below, Crazy has to do something soon. Meanwhile, same situation for Nipsey, CZB, Lucia Steno, Surge versus Week 3 Legends. they're all going through some type of surge issue right now, and they're trapped on that right side of the zone, furthest away from where they actually have to be. They'll wait for Tayson and Mustache to move, and that will solve a little bit of their problems, but they might make enemies they do not want to make.
Yeah, that's not a team you necessarily want to be taking a fight with. I think the goal won't be to do that, right? They just want to take some tags along the way as they start to make their way to zone, keeping their distance, just being an annoyance per se.
I mean, Tayson and Mustache have to know if they were that desperate and had pistols, they're definitely down on Surge. They want to focus someone, they definitely can. They would be that smart. Meanwhile, Perceive had one less hammer charge, and because of that, this happens. Not able to keep up with Crazy. Stopped by the box of two players that are just so tough to deal with. Jugger looking for his next shot. Does get that quick surge off of Crazy, but I feel like everyone's story just ends here.
Yeah, there aren't really any winners here, right? Both teams, both players on all sides struggling with Surge, down in the dirt in Storm, and even though Yarko and Clone are now above on Surge, playing out the rest of this game for Yarko isn't going to be possible because Lena takes him out, but even if he hadn't of, it wouldn't. But look, again, right back on the flip side, Lena, Fury, struggling on Surge here.
Kylie, Marine not making it. Paco going up to a big fight too. Vico down. Everyone just imploding on this zone. This is one of the most challenging ones, and I still see people almost near Anvil trying to make it in. Actually, Anvil's a really far ways away. It's just north of Frenzy on the bridge, but it may as well be towards the Lonely Lab side of the map. There's so many duos who have not made it all the way through this far. This might be almost a 50-person lobby by the time the zone ends.
Yeah, and of course, Mustache and Tayson in this fight, they might want to just take out Steno, I believe that is. Yeah, it is. Paco and Marine are chilling by them as well. To be honest, for them, their rotation to zone shouldn't be too difficult. I think they might just be looking to regroup a bit, get their HP back up before they make their move. Of course, select some augments as well, and then using that hammer to get on the move. Some of the first ones to rotate here, but they're the ones that get ahead.
I like that quick build-up, but Mustache is left behind. Tayson will slow down slightly. They're moving in pretty fast. It's actually a race right now. A full-on kart race, it looks like, towards the zone on the right side. Whoever gets in first has a little bit of a sensibility of control. Tripper now from the backside is going all the way towards the left, finds a few more shots, and that'll force the duo in front of him to make a pit stop. Tripper then can move and go all the way up and over, 355 above. Teach him to try to go for a little bit of a fight, but absolutely blocked down by a wall. Not going to be Trippers. They can't really edit. Now the zone coming in from the backside. A few more duels on the right. Still moving in as it looks like Tripper gets scanned. Scram on the left too. They move right down the road and avoid so much conflict. Meanwhile, Pixie and Delay on the north side. A different situation. Slightly above on Surge. Realize this is a free fight where they can take a little bit more damage and maybe deal some too. Get up on Surge. They can also just move in. It's difficult though. They have to give up this big hill. There's not too many big places to base up at. Waiting for one of the hammer charges. They'll finally find their way through. JJ2 though, I would expect to be so high on Surge Weapon. I've seen them fight 5 different duos, I feel like, this game. They're only 65 above.
Yeah, that's probably one of the worst spots you can be in, right? 65 above. When you look in their inventories, it's quite bare bones. Nothing really fruitful. Seti and Cammy, you'd expect them to be having a better game with the nature of this zone, and maybe just a minor hiccup because they are way up on Surge. And the materials are looking very strong on Seti's side, at least.
Yeah, this just looks like an issue on timing overall. We know the majority of duels are coming in from the right side. They have 4 eliminations as a duo. Looks like a couple of fights where they're trying to just regain their bearings and might get interrupted by a lot of these traveling low Surge duos.
A minor hiccup along the way shouldn't be enough to derail them. Certainly still potential for that big game.
I mean, the big game might be a little bit of a flub one this time. They have to play on the same layers as Thomas and Malibuca. They're both on the same side now. And that always is a little bit of a clash because we know Thomas likes to just go straight low now in this meta from what I've seen. When trouble strikes, that's exactly where Seti Cammy are playing too. Well, Hellfire and Refsguard, who tried that in one of the previous games as well. If this goes all the way to half and half and it stays on this side, those duels should be right next to each other.
Banyak and Kami Of course, we saw them make it deep into that last game. And the foundations are definitely there for them to do it again. But with the material situation, they're going to need to make sure that Janice and Reason don't get any easy tags on them. And unfortunately for them, that's exactly what happened. Kami tried to go into that bush. Janice and Reason are waiting. Reason gets taken out, and so Vanyak in another clutch situation as a solo, but a bit earlier in the game this time around. The icy slide going to be too helpful in this situation.
I feel like for Vanyak, it's one of those things where you're known for like a joke that's really funny, but then people force you to keep saying it over and over again.
Yeah.
Best solo clutcher, best solo clutcher. Carver's like, do it again.
Hey man, do a solo clutch, man. Can you do that thing you do? Solo clutch? Please do it again.
Oh, it's gonna be so tough. Janice and Reason won't mind their pattern though. If it's first or second, and you're asking them to do it again, might be a chance. Because they're still, looks like their zone.
Hey look, I questioned whether or not they'd be able to replicate success with a Southern zone, at least up to this point in the game. Things are looking so good, right? The setup is nice. They have so much on Surge. They ain't gonna worry about that for the rest of the game.
It'll be a different pattern for all of EU right now. They're used to having really big mountains and snow in those first two games. This is gonna be flat lands that everyone's gonna have to traverse. Your hammers work a little bit differently. You might go slightly farther. A lot of the times it's not gonna be as far because you're not going down big mountains. It's just slight cliffs. Low ground, not gonna be the safest place anymore. Queasy on these walls, they need to have this quick pickup. It's up against Delay and Pixie. They took it really personal, and Delay doesn't make it all the way up the hill. Pick apart the duo that caused them so much trouble in that second
And that's a nice bit of revenge for Vino and Queasy, taking out the team that you know will probably contest you on height way before the high ground battle even begins. This is perfect for them as they move into the endgame. Vino with his classic sneaky, peeky plays and a big couple of shots just to confirm their limbs. That is textbook Queasy and Vino.
The amount of control they have, it feels like they're playing with 2 keyboards each and 4 arms. Absolutely nuts. Nebs and Pink also have their dive down, but Nebs just does not make it all the way. Still finds a little bit of damage, but now it's a free run.
Yeah, this split is potentially going to be costly. Pink does a decent job of just holding down the fort for a moment, fighting off a duo, just allowing Nebs to catch up.
Not done yet, still have to go forward. Find a hammer down below, but not sure if that's going to be an option. Ryan Paco somehow survived. The absolute kerfuffle that we saw inside the zone, that was 4 duos falling all around them. They live and they look so healthy.
I don't know how they do it. They're going to have to stay healthy, though, as they move on through here again. A bit of a disjointed hammer effort, and so that's going to burn some materials, some vital materials that they'll need before their next refresh. Flodax and Rifty currently up here on height. For how much longer, you always have to ask yourself if those guys in the lobby. Look, they take shots at the perfect team. If you want to shoot any team in the lobby, that's definitely the ones you want to take shots at, Rifty. Those are the players that are going to be a challenge to where you currently stand in the lobby.
Queasy and Vino are coming. 18 seconds. They know the inevitable. They've seen the refresh happen in their feeds. Thomas HD, Malabuka also have a lot of space to play with. Every time you see that from Thomas, we know he's cooking something good.
Yeah, I think the good thing here, right, is that if you're Queasy and Vino, Thomas, and Malabuka, the zone's pulled in their favor. They're the ones all the way up there on the north. Everybody has to start moving towards them. And so for Moran and Paco, they need to make use of this hammer. And they need to try and stick together as they move on in here. Things are going to start getting messy as you get in towards the zone.
Double hammer from Orion. Looks like he's going to take the game all by himself. Paco trying as much as he can.
Vanyak going down, but going down with a fight. He takes Paco down. And just that bit of a delay is going to be catastrophic for Orion. You see there, that timing means that Mixon was able to move in and clean up Paco. Orion has to play as a solo, just like Trippin here.
Talking about Tripper and Janice being side by side, but it's going to be on the long pole. And Tripper's got nothing left in the tank. Has to move through, finds the hammer and the med mist. This is hope. This looks like almost a sponsor for him inside the sword. But Queasy and Vino, Levin, I'm sorry, I blinked. I missed it. They're on height again.
It's the inevitable. They are inevitable. And this time round, nobody looking to chop them out. Nobody looking to fight them up here above. Who will it be to contest them? If anybody will look to contest them.
Might be something very unorthodox. Might be a duo they're not used to seeing before. Chari And Giras up in this game once again. Top 3 for the moment overall on the boards. They just keep pushing it even further. Reason Janus also alive, but they're hanging on by a hair.
Wow, Reason. You see the instincts kicking in as he tries to look for some sort of a fight, but eventually gets tagged down there. They were struggling. Thomas and Malabuka, though, they pulled the zone. They had the positioning, but they need the mats. They need a refresh.
They've been dropped down layer after layer. These hammers just going through their entire resource pool of materials. No materials left. The added clubs. No! Rifty was there. Thomas, not like this.
The miscommunication. Thomas wanted to edit in. Malabuka was trying to edit him in. They're both trying to edit the same wall. And Thomas falls as a result of it. Malabuka now, it's his turn to solo clutch.
Gonna try on the right side, seeing what he can do. Meanwhile, Queasy and Vino up top are looking really good as Rifty and Flodax are forced down below. Giras Shari also playing an absolute calm game. This is looking so easy for them. No stress whatsoever. And they've got the floppers and the hammer to make it towards the perfect side. All the way up front. The mats to lift too.
And they're doing exactly what they did when they won the first game. They're moving towards the front side of low ground, claiming space, and they're going to look to just edit on anybody that runs in their way.
Let the lobby just choke themselves out. That's their strat. And he finds Mixon. Chari now with a little refresh to play with. Marine somehow as a solo. 6 elimination, 2 hammers, 1 dream. Big shots he's living.
He's done so well up to this point, but he has to continue to do more, and the opportunities are there. Giras is somehow now as a solo. He's got no materials either. There's a bit of brick down there that he can take, but he needs to connect with a big shot.
Marine is all in. Waffler all the way through the box. Possibility at the last moment. He does not get the refresh. Can't find the mats. Nothing in the tank. Marine goes down, but what a performance.
Giras still pushing in this one, but the hammer might be his demise. He was exposed for too long. That's going to be all. His shield's gone now.
2 boxes left in terms of materials to play with. Queasy, Vino, just having fun, letting the lobby stress themselves out. Brantman with a heal game all the way in the storm, but I don't think it'll matter for now unless he has something miraculous. This is the Queasy Vino show. One big fight to win the game.
Flodax and Rifty, though, they were the ones that held that position before. They've traded places. Brant, he's trying to make a play. Very daring stuff from Brant, but nevertheless, Vino eventually closes him out.
They're going to use that distraction to find a way to start that fight up top. But Rifty and Flodax choose to let that zone close in and wait out that other solo. It is Giras that ends up going down now in a 2v2 for the Game 3 win.
We've seen them in these 2v2 situations all season long. More times than not, one of them is able to come out on top.
The big thing, though, all the way on low ground, Flodax and Rifty just go and find 7 almost bodies of loot down below. So many mats to be able to delay. Queasy and Vino have the ammo, it looks like, to keep raining down shots.
You can see Vino, he does have the means for a heal off if need be, but they want to just go straight up. Rifty and Flodax, they're using those hammers.
Yeah, they found all those mats too, but now Flodax got nothing in the tank. Now just Rifty, they're going straight for the shots. No chance whatsoever, as the control is too strong. The duo is too good. It's Queasy, it's Vino, it's Gods winning the game.
We don't hype them up for nothing. This is a team that has to be studied, has to be watched. Everything they do it to perfection, and they win here in Game 3, playing the game we all know they can play.
Most importantly, have to be praised, and we can start that now. Look at the playback once again. Find so many mats, have so much control. Up top, the shot's perfect from Vino. The timing, immaculate.
I call him the best player in the world, and that's because this is what he does. In endgame, he's a menace. In the zone, around the zone, up, down, everywhere he goes. He hits shots, he takes players out, and he makes it look like so much fun as well. We saw how stoic he was in the interview at the beginning. It's like he doesn't even care. Well, it's just because it's so easy for him. Queasy here at the end as well, using that hammer, creating chaos, jumping in the zone, and a big shot himself. This team is, they're on the rise.
Absolutely. Still, though, top 4 in that last game. Looked to be a lot of duos that we saw over and over again in the first 2. That's a big jump, though, because Vino had so many eliminations.
Look, the favorites of the competition have finally rolled through and won a game. Frankie, what does this mean for the standings?
Well, I think it's going to mean a lot for the standings, and we'll get to those shortly, because from story mode to arcade mode for Queasy and Vino, in those final circles, it felt like everyone was flying at this duo, and they were going for the elims. And if you come for the crown, you're probably going to miss against these two.
They haven't quite got the engine going until now. They're trying it. They're trying it. And finally, they've got it going. Game number 3 is where we get back to normal. Finally, they've done it with a Victoral from height. It's just back to normality almost.
Look, we were hyping this up from the start, and now they've gave us that show that we wanted to see. Not only a victory royale, but a double-digit victory royale for Queasy and Vino. I mean, this is what we expected to see from them, and them executing on it perfectly, it's really what you love to see.
Beautiful stuff. I love that from Vino, actually going back into the storm to get those materials. Even right there, just picking up so many materials. He knows how important it is to stay afloat on that end game, on that high ground. Because look, he's dropping for those materials. He trusts himself to get those. Brandman actually here gave them a free package. A nice little prime delivery of a beautiful load of materials. And that is exactly what kept them afloat in the end game here. And of course, won them the game.
Look, this duo was tied for the most victory royales in qualifiers, and now they're looking to do the same in grand finals. Playing it by the books up above. Nice 2v2 coming out on top in those last moments, and now with that victory royale, they've secured an additional 14 placements up the leaderboard, putting them in 4th place.
There were some notable solos in the final few phases as well. Duras doing it for his duo, holding on. It really was inevitable that he'd have to go down at some point, given that Queasy and Vino were still alive. But definitely someone who's impressing us today.
Yeah, definitely as well. I mean, moving up all the way into that first place spot, it's not going to last potentially because, you know, there's plenty of teams that are down below that are hot on their heels. But if they can continue this momentum and continue this consistency, really there's no reason why it can't last, because this is a top.
You know mats? You know mats? You know mats? You know mats? No way! No, that kid just died like that. Yo, that was the funniest way to die. I'm not even trolling. That was actually funny as fuck. That boy's a liar. That boy's a liar. Damn, that dude was a Twitter or was a cheater. Wow, that kid was actually like tweeting that he was cheating on me. Maybe the first time. I should have. I think that 1,000 bits, bro. You see my yeah, I just saw it. Moonlighting in 2 months. If Fortnite gets boring, do you think it was gonna switch games? I don't think I'd ever switch games. I think my retirement's gonna be just me doing like entertainment. Fuck like, you know what I'm saying? Mr. Savage versus who? Wait, is Mr. Savage doing bad? Yeah, I mean he's probably like 3 Triplicon. Physically in 6 months. 1 Shada. What up, bro? Think of the gifted before. Think of 1,000 bits as well. Yeah, they're fucking yeah. Unlucky.
My brother.
My brother. What up, Ron? Ron, baby, how are you? Why is your shit lowercase? When are you moving again? Monday. Monday, I'm gonna be in LA. Vivid, think of 1,000 bits.
Yo, Clicks, I love playing tournaments, but I'm terrible at Fortnite and I only have 16 points and I've played 3 games. Is it better to play for placement at this point or kills?
Definitely placement. Definitely play for placement. Good luck, bro. You got this. Still keeping this 2 months. Jay, I didn't ask if you... Bro. Yeah, dude. Why are you camping? Bro. Because I want to win this game? Bro, I'm trying to just win. I'm not shooting the grands. I'm locking in. In the night. If you had to retire, what would you do if you had... Wait. If you had to retire, what would you do if you had to work? Real estate? Call me. He said if I just stopped streaming, I would just get into real estate and just have my money work for me.
Hello there, Clicks.
Yo, am I winning this game? Grands is today, bro.
I don't care.
What the fuck? Way to support your friend, dude.
Wait, is my mic that loud? Wait.
Yeah, it's pretty. You joined or fucking holy shit.
Fix it.
Yeah, we're still dropping ammo, bro. We are indeed still dropping ammo.
I got you. Hold up, I'll fix you. This is still very loud.
A little bit. I can lower you though.
Yeah, you probably have to lower me.
I think I'd be on 200. Yeah. Got lower you. Talk.
Hello.
Yeah, you straight. I'm just vibing out.
Now, can they finish the day in first?
Yeah, up in first, Geras still active, still alive, and another game coming right up. Game number 4. Let's see if they can survive in first place.
As we move them through, you can see already we're going to be tuning into Breakwater Bay because Pixie and Delay are still fighting Vortexes and Axforce, and a bad drop there means that Vortexes is going to go down. Oh dearie me, you can't be afforded bad drops here in the FNCS final. Spent a bit too long gliding there and gets punished as a result of it. Pixie and Delay, their drops were on point. And so now Axforce has to 2v1 this.
And not on his terms. It's fine sometimes if you have a bad glide and then get shot down in the air. At least your reboot card is far enough away for your teammate to pick it up and you can reassess the game plan. That reboot is inside Delay's living room. It's going to be tough for Axforce to go in there, undetected, past the alarm system, and pick things up from where this duo lives. Meanwhile, Geras, very important fight to win. 1 HP. This is huge. This is who gets to control first place. They're ahead by just a measly 10-ish points. And they don't want to go down now. 2 shots for Geras.
He needs that for a moment now. Full damage might get him. And the slurp juice is so needed.
It's just about delaying now. Has to wait it out. Finds an AR to use as well. Arc all the way down below. Has nothing, it looks like, to really fight with. Has a little bit of a loadout, but no materials. That's the issue. Now we'll build up. He knows he's up against at least 150, making a lot of noise, so Geras knows exactly where he is. There's that leaderboard. Yeah, just about 15 points ahead for this duo in first place. Out of a spout up top in the north, Geras is not stopping the pressure. The longer this fight goes, the more that slurp juice ticks. Pay attention to the shots. Pay attention to that blue bar. Geras is not stopping out. Aggressive. He's good. And they're still in first place.
The 2v1 to keep the game alive. Geras. What a player. Holding his nerve. Look, there are a lot of players in this lobby that in that situation, they just almost give up. They accept their defeat. He keeps fighting with 1 HP, Shayo.
Does Axforce have that Geras inside of him? That's the question. In the same spot, and he's not stopping. On his wall, user duo, completely different one to fight with. Through the bush, and he finds his. What's this game going? What's this all about? Teammate now up in the box, user. Can he avenge user is the question. Still edited in, Axforce doesn't care. Another 2v1. What is game 4?
What am I watching right now? Axforce and Geras have rocked my world. Wow. 2 back-to-back 1v2s. And 2 players who just refuse to go down. They want to stay in this game.
How did Axforce get here? How did he even get here? We're about to watch a replay of the elimination. I'm wondering how he even got to this spot. The first one, up top. Take that fight yourself. What a shot, too. Over 100 damage. And then he moves in that bush. So good for him. Because he can go back and forth, owns that wall. The prediction. The absolute aggression from Axforce. He cannot be stopped.
Wow. Look, the bush definitely helped him out there, right? I can't see it happening without it, but nevertheless, making use of what he had. Darko and Clone, though.
Okay.
Finishing things off. Yeah, we're not gonna get, look. We've had more than enough 1v2s here. We're not getting another one. Zangi will fall there.
Oh, Bad Sniper's in that spot. Patterns all legit now. One thing, too, that's come back to be absolutely normal is the way the zones are going in EU. All the way now towards the north again. I feel for anyone landing in Faulty. I know it's one of the god spots, has a lot of loot, but that place never gets zoned. Ever. Like, not once.
It definitely feels that way, right?
Yeah.
It definitely feels that way. I think we had one day in qualifier, like 2, where like we had like 3 faulty zones, and I was like, those are your 3 faulty zones.
All those points were nullified. They don't even count.
It definitely feels that way.
Sometimes with the diversity of the map, it literally looks like a different game entirely. Watching these fights in the Autumn Wood, and then you get all the way up towards that Icy Lake. Thomas HD, Malibuca taking their time, skating around the map. Kyrie with Vexy. No Luka for the assist. He's looking for his next shot. Ping gonna be caught between 2 different walls, but it's gonna be fine. It's Kyrie's there to bail him out.
Didn't expect to see them fighting too much here in this Lonely Lab sort of area, but they need the damage, they need the surge. Dealing with things appropriately, Marine and Paco. They've benefited from all of this chaos here at Faulty. Been able to get surge out of this spot consistently and make it deep in these games.
Uncharacteristic misses from Marine as well. They invested a lot of time to stay in this spot at Faulty. They were hoping that one duo would rotate. Hoping to get about 100 damage at least off of spawn. Unfortunately, with those misses, that's not going to be possible. Lots of breakdowns, lots of fun stuff on TikTok. You can follow at FNComp_official to see more of that. And right now we can see a little bit more of Crazy and Perceive. This is interesting.
Yeah, because obviously, you know, I don't think I was expecting to see them here at Faulty Splits, and so clearly switching things up. Just crawling around with those shotguns out, trying to catch Paco out, and not even finding success in that. It's not ideal for them. They would have wanted to just take him out right there and then.
I'd love one day to see see Perceive's POV, but then the face cam of Paco in that situation. And then just jump
That'd be
while
great.
farming.
I'm
Be
sure
so
he was
funny.
very panicked.
Perceive up top, up at Faulty right now because of the way the zone is and things aren't business as usual. Instant rotates from a lot of these players. It seems like Perceive might be lost on the game plan as to what to do. Might be interruptions in the way people move. Meanwhile, Queasy, Vino, business as usual, slightly split. Looking for their chance of shots all around the northern part of the zone. And yeah, Queasy, Janice, both these guys winning a lot of games. 9 for Queasy, 14 for Janice from what we saw before. I mean, the same duos owning the same lobbies.
Hey man, game winners for a reason. I think the exciting thing about this duo is just, can they allow this momentum now to keep going? I think when you consider, you know, all things, the game prior, game number 2 to the one that they won, they were in a position to win. And in my opinion, they got pretty unlucky not to. Game 3, they get another opportunity, they win. Game 4, I think it's clear now when they're given the opportunity, when all of the right cards fall into their deck, they are just a lock-in to just win or at least get some sort of high placement.
And this time, at least the top side of that deck has fallen into place. All cards in the right suits. Both players in the perfect position inside the circle. Kane and Coop, I don't see 2 other arrows too close by, so yeah, with those elims too, Savage and ZX down.
Shout out to Changing Chris, a very active part of the community. He made the joke that I love, right, when it comes to Mr. Savage, where it's like every season people are like, yeah, but Savage, he's only fighting off spawn because he's like scaring people away for next season, right? Like, you know, he's griefing this season, but next season he'll be on con because of it. It's like, yeah, we say that every season. It's like,
The season's coming. Let him cook.
it's actually, Savage has been fighting off spawn like from back when Benji Fishy was still playing this game. Like, he's been fighting off spawn for a long, long time now. Maybe one season he'll be on con, maybe.
I have to look into Karmi's Tesseract to see which season that'll be in the future, somewhere in space.
Maybe chapter 7. Another North Zone. Back to what we saw in game 1 and 2. And if anything reigns true from that, then maybe another game where Janice and Reason can show us their prowess. Of course, starting this game in 2nd place. Want to look to push into 1st. Kami and Vanyak have a ways to go to get to zone, but finding a nice bit of loot there that'll keep them moving throughout this one. Pixie and Delay, obviously, they were the winners of Spawn in the battle against Axforce and Texas. They only picked up the one though. So we saw Axforce get away and show us his solo prowess.
The big thing for this duo, the fact that they're still in the game means this end game is going to be drastically different. This is the team that keeps contesting that high ground. This is the team which made Queasy and Vino say, personally, I wouldn't let that slide. Or I took that personal and just came in the next game and took them out before high ground even started. It's going to be tough. Deox being in here too, if Mappy was alive, would say a lot for that 4th to 5th zone rotation. Cammy being down, I mean, we set up so much at the start of the day. Oh no, Cammy is here. He's just far away from SETI.
Yeah, lagging behind a bit.
This seems like a reboot almost. SETI's mats are really good. They have a chance to get in. That narrative of, you know, these guys are being pit up at least head to head by a few members in the community. I would say that Queasy and Vino miles ahead right now.
Yeah, especially when you look at this season, the form they've been in, it's not been quite at the level you'd expect from SETI and Cammy. Of course, they had a bunch of problems landing Frenzy when being contested, and of course, Nipsey and CZB are causing them issues in this lobby as well.
Thomas HG, though, business as usual, just not missing shots. I'm liking this option from this duo. This is the 2nd game in a row we've seen it. So close to zone, can definitely move, have a spot that's easy to give up to, but they stay there. They wait for everyone else to come in first, then they find a way to get a base up top. Janice Reason, how did they cook up a win? You have to see exactly what this versatile man can do. Owner of all modes, him and Reason on the backside towards the top of Blackwater Bay. So much control, an airdrop to get to. They're just waiting to get the HP back up, start the game going over.
Yeah, but things are not looking too bad, right, in terms of just general position, right? Of course, so many of the players in the lobby are going to be coming in from that southeast, a bunch of people congregating in that area, right? They are sort of gifted dead side by the zone. We've seen players fighting for it, right? Last game, Queasy and Vino, like the analyst said, you know, they actually had to fight for it. They went for a boat rotation all the way around the map, swimming all the way across. These guys, the zone just gives it to them. So that can definitely play in their favor. Stroke and Hydro, we've not seen a great deal from this duo so far in the competition. And maybe this may be why 200 above surge isn't bad, but it's not phenomenal. And when you're making rotations like these, a bit too loose, a bit too carefree when building his way on in, especially with all his eyes on you as you move on towards the safe zone. Hydro having to pick up the pieces now.
Staying inside this box for a bit too long, it might seem like too. I understand the keg is popping in here. Mustache Tayson right up top. Hydro sees that coming, he's like, yeah, never mind, I'll get in. But just like Fast Roki, takes a few more shots on the glide. 184 above now, the time is ticking. The surge is falling down. Hydro will look back to shoot the duo who was right above him. Tayson and Mustache again. A little bit of a timing issue coming into this next zone.
Mustache and Tayson, they have had their fair share of struggles in zones like this, but with a wealth of experience, you would expect them to be able to handle things. You see up there, Joker just being a thorn in their side as they try and move into zone, still hearing this storm. Just using that wood and brick to move their way on in, switching out to metal. Want everybody to know that they do have power in this one. Players right behind them in the zone.
Oh,
now
no.
players right in front of them in Podeside. It's Reese.
Right next to their box, they have to find a way to breathe, but absolutely constricted towards the back here. And now Deceptos is trying to fire at them too. Clement inside the same boxes might just keep Podeside and squeeze away for now. They'll have to actually sort out all that loot. And they're just letting him fall. Actually still focused on Tayson. But there's a distraction. And now Tayson has a chance to actually look back at them. The zone will move very slowly on this side. It's a slow slide closing in. Every time you see that purple zone is closer to the white line, it takes a lot longer for that full minute to clock in. So there'll be a lot of fights happening amongst the majority of the duos in the lobby. Meanwhile, Nebs in pink. This is that side that moves a lot faster. The zone a lot farther away from safety. They'll have to dash quick to get back into the Citadel.
But they do have the means to get there, right? Nebs with this hammer in hand. And it seems like Pink actually might have one himself as they didn't hammer together, so double hammer for this team. is the ideal situation. Let's see what Pink was getting up to, though. See there, getting fraggy, realizing the opportunity, and Glubshy and JJ2 didn't really stand a chance. And the change in my voice due to a bit of surprise here, because Queasy and Vino are not looking good.
And Pulse's and Queasy's inventory, they have everything to counteract height retakes. But Queasy does not have his dual partner to be able to get into the game. Excalibur here to deny a lot of people who are up top in bases to continue shooting at your builds. A nice slide in from Queasy. How long can he really last like this, though? I mean, we've only really seen him have big clutches when Vino goes down up top, or vice versa, once they have a little bit of a position set towards the 6th and 7th zone. This is all the way on zone 3 that his duo is down, and there's no chance for a reboot now.
Yeah, when they're not trying to solo clutch like in like the final zones of the game, it's typically not the kind of solo clutch situation you want to see them in. But that is a good thing for the rest of the lobby, for anybody that fancies their chances up on high ground. There is going to be an opportunity there with those guys not quite in this one. Trippin and Scram, who started off the day looking very, very strong, cooled off a bit, and now suffering at the hands of the lobby. Scram taken out, Trippin getting lobby sprayed right now, and he doesn't have any more metal, and so once he switches to this wood, they're going to know. But fortunately for him, the timing was perfect. Just as he ran out, he stopped getting sprayed.
And another duo went down, so he stopped getting surged. And there's a solo above him who looks like he's very low HP, so he might get gifted a body as well. Belusi on the ground.
Wait, how's he going so lucky? What?
Lucky with his costume Scram. It's like he made a sacrifice to be able to live this zone.
And he's being extra safe about it as well, right? He doesn't even want to drop down and get the loot. He's using that Falcon Scout to secure it.
Nevs and Pink really haven't had a big showing towards any of these end games so far. Lots of explosive box dives from game to game. Hovering, teetering over that top 10 for now. But this game will have to be the converter. Reminder, it is a 2-day competition. We do have 12 games. This is the 4th game on the first day. There's 2 more left after this. You still want to be able to make your mark. This game has the points that are worth the same as the last game on Sunday. So if you are in a solo position, if your duo is still alive, you have to make the most of it. Freddy and Marius, 88 points so far. Issues off spawn, but they're still in the competition.
Yeah, I think showcasing very much today. I've been so impressed by Frodoxi's performance. He's really putting the weight of responsibility on his shoulders at times.
They have that north dead side so they can really run in and have a good position to stop this endgame over. Repsguard Hellfire surviving a 4th zone rotate. As I say that, Repsguard loses half his shield. This is the first time they're up together. Usually enemies side by side in past FNCSs. Tripper going to go down.
They've looked good this season though. Kept their heads down, staying quiet, avoiding all the noise, and just looking to deliver with top performances, and that's what they've done.
This might be a crazy clutch. The 1v2 for Axe Force, and now Vortexers is back up and they're farming. They're still farming inside the 4th zone.
If these guys can come through and deliver with a big game, that would be huge. It doesn't look like the kind of game where you can play hype, but after what we saw from these guys in Surge Week, where they were the Queasy and Vino of the lobby, I'd love to see them do that here now that Queasy and Vino and not really going to be in this one like that. But they're going to need a refresh prior if they want to play that way.
They definitely have a chance for that control, but you're right, Levin, without that suppression, without that crazy duo all the way up top on high ground, a lot of the old classics might have some room to play for themselves. Thomas HD, Malabuka, space to shoot, to bully, to breathe. And they're not relenting on the pressure towards this team that's across from them on the other high ground layer.
Yeah, they're just going to keep spraying. Thomas is low on ammo, and so maybe he needs to be a bit more wary in how he approaches that. Maybe an ammo split would be appropriate for them, depending on what Malabuka has. Delay. They might look to get in on Janice and Reason. They were looking very close on the box. I thought they were about to just run on in with their shotguns in hand.
I'm looking at the zone 2. It's really rare that we see huge water zones inside EUF and CS, but up near the Citadel, there's barely any land to cling on to.
You know, if just keeps pulling across these different rivers, and pieces of water. We're going to see all these mats expended by teams. It's going to get real scrappy.
Here's Freddy. Huge shot. And you have to be vigilant on all sides right here. Mustache going down.
Mustache and Tayson going down. Those are two big hitters in this lobby that they've taken out. But the perfect refresh that they needed. Their mats are looking so good now in this game. And with Fredoxy in the form he's in right now, the sky is the limit for this team.
Pixie and Delay have a hold on that limit. You say sky's the limit, they say it's stopping right here. No chance. And who was needed to take them down last time? Who gave them trouble? It was Queasy and Vino. This time, nowhere in sight. Axe Force, you mentioned him and Vortexers a little bit. They were refarming mats in the fourth zone. They're down bad right now. There's no chance for them to even contest at all.
They ain't got the facilities to play height. And so this might just be a free walk for Pixie and Delay.
Big difference too though, Vanyak, Karmi, alive together. No more solo performance needed. This duo might survive. They're just waking up on a nice beach vacation, looking for their next move. Janus and Reason also here. And with what I'm seeing right now, yes, Geras is down. Charging out in this game, they can take first place.
This is their chance, this is their moment. We talked about it being a return to a home zone area for them. And these have been the ones where they thrived the most. And a cheeky little find here.
Wow.
He's just been gifted a hammer. Needs to be careful. There's a player on that wall. So he has to close that build very, very quickly. But now they can get on the move. This is setting up to be such a nice game for Janus and Reason.
It's really smart to keep low as well. They can afford it because we're going right back down to another river. I say river, actually. I see valley. Two high points of contention on either side. High ground not going to be guaranteed at all, so Nebs focuses all the way on low, down towards the sand. It's getting coarse, rough as he finds a few more shots, but it's getting too much for him to handle. Snazy finally going down up inside the box, trying to find Handle X2. Pink is right beside him, but they just get one for now. Absolute blender of a moment side by side.
But they need to stay cool. That's been their problem sometimes this season. It's why they've struggled for success. They sometimes get too over-aggressive. They sometimes get too hungry for the LMs. Pink though, he's gonna walk in, he wants to try and get some of the loot from that one.
And now the zone's gonna be an absolute trial and tribulation for the whole lobby. Moving across the north side of the Citadel, nothing to hang on to. Right beside a cliff, it's just high ground, fully player made. Delay up top against Keandro. Pixie holding on for now. They jump towards the cliffs of the Citadel. A little bit of the rook side of the castle, not much to find.
And an easy situation for them to retain height. They built up here and they can just start to use the natural Citadel mountain to just contain everybody in this lobby right now.
And look at the cost for the rest of the players. Halfway through this rotate, still 30 seconds left, and all these duos completely out of mats. No shields. Karmi has nothing. Reason has a little bit to work with, but everyone else down low just has their hammers to get towards the next hill.
And if you want anything, you're gonna have to fight for it. You're gonna have to go in deep. Box-to-box combat is what it's all about. And that's typically where you expect Karmi and Vanyak to thrive. But here they're suffering, they're struggling down below. Vanyak in another clutch.
Reason Janus up towards themselves as well. On the front side, Vanyak looking for the next shot, but he gets taken down. Meanwhile, on the bottom right, Thomas HD picked apart by Reason as he goes for a high ground type of push, just actually elevating his lair. Dropped down by a few hammers. It's tough to be alive in this side of the zone. Another duo right in front of him. Freddy on the backside of Storm as well. Looking for a few shots as Axe Force goes down. Freddy is just him alone. Marius not there. His head hits the top side of not just shots, but a wall, and he goes down.
Pink, he needs to get in a box and hit a shot, but he gets caught in the back of the zone.
Every single layer is crumbling.
Everybody being forced upwards, but nobody has the mats to really deal with it. So many of these players now being splintered, torn apart from their duos. There's barely any remaining in this game.
A giant game of Jenga, and it's Pixie and Delay who are the players. Looking to pick apart every single block and make each duo topple. The Citadel, not safe. There is no foundation. Mixon, no mats at all. T-Chips almost out as well. Reorganizes the inventory. No one going down yet. A bunch of solos to be able to play with. A few duos still in the fray. It's four of them that gets taken out.
Jarko with a big limb there. He's had 7 this game. This is a monster performance so far. Anything he does now is a bonus for him.
High ground topples down. Janus takes him out. Pixie at 1 HP bounces back all the way again. Has so many splashes, but does he have the time to pop them? Absolutely. Delay is gone though, as Janus has the retake.
Janus and Reason, they've gone up again, but Mixon takes down Janus, and so it's all on Reason now. All but solos remaining in this one. Blackshot, Mixon's also fallen. And so, Reason having to fend off alone. Gonna get the mats, gonna get the loot, but he doesn't have the HP.
Yeah, not gonna connect to really either. Drops down towards the tree and actually has the wall to make 2 boxes. Up above him, Pixie, what does he have in the inventory? Just 3 builds, all the way up high. He sneaks the shot in too. A magician is Reason. He's got a full bag of tricks that you can't predict. He's just too good. And now still has a little bit more time to get the last 2 elims. It's 3 points. Drop down, he teases it, but he still hangs up top high. Lasha now forced to look towards this fight. Pickaxe towards the top. This pressure from the sky. Reason drops down the menace, and he's trying to have the game secured, but Jarko goes for the steal. Mats to play with, water down below. You have to elevate his Reason, have the mats all the way up top, connects with his walls. Another one down to make another box. Jarko off the right side, lands the first shot. Reason back up in the sky. 1 more floor, it's not his. Reason hits the falling shot, gets hit in the head again. Bopped up top, it's blocked. Jarko with the next shot, he can win it, but Reason's too fast. Reason's too good, and Reason wins the game.
2 Titan solo performances clashing there at the end, but it's Reason, the German, that comes out on top. What a performance for him today. They've been so impressive, and you've got to think that pushes them into first place, Shayo.
It has to, absolutely, with the first place team going down so early, with Queasy and Vino not accelerating, with no one else actually having a grasp. These guys hold on.
It's so funny how easy it is to call this right now, right? We said they pull another North Zone, this is going to be a good game for them, and they come out and they win it.
It's impossible to target them too. They play their early game so safe. They have no surge issues either. They find their spot in zone, and they have the likes of Reason in the clutch seat. Unstoppable for Janus and Reason.
Look, it's such a minor thing for me, but these are the things I pay attention to in that game, in the end game, right, where they're moving towards the zone. Janus, in that moment, distracted. He's trying to pick up a refresh. Reason, the fragger, he's the one to turn around, start leading the way, start tarping. He's locked in, he's playing at his best right now, and that's the reason why these guys are in first.
Chapters and chapters and chapters of gameplay. You have to adapt all styles. You have to be able to hold every single role in your duo. Frankie, what do you have for that one? Because that was insane.
Well, I've got a look of shock. I'm still recovering from those final fights as the soloists were going at it. But to be honest, Janus and Reason feel inevitable at this point, especially when the zone comes to their yard. There, it seemed a little bit uncomfortable having to rotate in that last game. Well, the previous game number 3, the cheek of it. In game number 4, they're in the comfort zone.
Yeah, it was really well played from this duo. As you mentioned, when they get the zone, they do perform. I actually had a little look. They're not actually contested at their drop spot. I thought they were going to be contested today, but in fact, they aren't. So this is a duo that can really pop off. This is FNCS winning potential right here because these guys are uncontested. They're 2 top players, and as we saw, 2 very well played individuals.
Look, Mini, they've done it again. Taking the high ground at the perfect time, capitalizing on that position, but this time it was a little bit more shaky. One of the players went down, and it was up to Reason to get that solo clutch. Jarko, on the other hand, as well, had 7 eliminations. It was a battle of titans, like Levin said, but seeing how Reason and Janus played together, the synergy, the chemistry, when they were on low, when they were on mid, and when they wanted to execute on that high ground retake, it all turned out well in the end.
Yeah, you saw they didn't have too many materials going into this, and they actually picked up a huge refresh on materials that then enabled them to take that high ground off Pixie and Della. They just thought, you know what, let's just hammer our way up and see what happens. What happened, of course, was a great solo clutch from Reason, giving us all the reasons to give him his flowers and really show how good this player is as a solo. Jarko here, I thought this was it. I thought Jarko could win it because he was pretty much 200 HP, but Reason hit a huge shot, 150 damage, and it sent Jarko gone. But what a performance from Reason. I think he doesn't get enough credit in this duo either. I think, you know, Janus, what an IGL, what a player. Reason to match. What a great talent.
Wondering, did Reason expect Jarko to jump down like that? Because when we were watching that, we thought Jarko had it, and I had to take a few seconds to realize that actually Reason had landed the shot.
Yeah, I think Reason did a really good job at trying to hammer up, but Jarko also did a great job at actually holding his floor to enable him to stay on that actual layer, because Reason couldn't break the floor because of that shockwave hammer. The way it works, if you try and shockwave into a build that someone's holding, it doesn't let you go.
You're too short to play basketball, LMAO. Dude, I'm 6 foot. I was chasing 60 months. You'll see me. You'll see me. When you see me in person, I grew. Dude, I'm still going through puberty. I'm 18.
Promise you.
I grew. I grew.
Alright, bro.
I grew everywhere. Okay, well, now we're lying. I'm not. I'm swear to God, I'm not lying though. You could pull up being 5'9". I actually could get you these shoes that adds 2 inches to you. LD wears them.
What are they?
These shoes that add 2 inches to you.
He's too old to be doing that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He's 28.
28?
I think it might be 29.
Hey,
I
can
think
you
it's 29.
stop with this attitude? This is not how a grown man.
Tyler, I'm not gonna lie, I just farted.
Yo, so suck my dick, dude. I don't have, bro. All the people watching me are above 18. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
It's all above 20.
Thank you. Thank you. Somebody had to agree with me, bro. It's already, I think, in 2 months. Okay, nice. Now they're swimming to 13. This is out of control. Nice. Oh. They're lying. They're lying. They're lying. Oh, I wait. All these goddamn losses. We're doing a room party.
Yeah, Pixie Della, aka
Of each game.
Yeah, Pixie Della, aka Veno Queasy almost, because they're taking on that role when Veno and Queasy aren't in the lobby. They're doing it really, really well as well. What I really like about the way they played this, they actually connected to the Citadel, which allowed them to invest those materials early on to keep that high ground. We saw what happened, I believe it was game 2, when Queasy and Veno were on high ground. People were trying to hammer up, and that's ultimately what got them to fall. They were connecting really well.
Look, it's what you love to see, though. I want to see if they can test Queasy and Veno, though. Next game, I mean, we'll have to see.
We will have to see. Interesting, though, if you look at the top, the eliminations are proving that if you're going to go out picking off those eliminations, you are going to find yourself in a great position. But obviously, all of our teams, they want to be finding themselves a victory royale. And today, they've only got 2 games left to do it in. So, who's going to be taking it in game number 5?
It's got to be one of the top 5 taking it at number 5 here in EU Major 1. It's the finals. Welcome back if you're just tuning in. It's an absolute blast here so far. 11, some of the most amazing games.
Yeah, we have seen some of the most fun Fortnite all major long. And I think the players have been saving their best for this moment. Some of the hype takes, the hype plays you've seen from the likes of Queasy and Veno, but of course Pixie and Delay as well, filling that shoes when needed.
Yeah, the biggest thing right now is that every single time one duo makes a mistake, there's another one right there, just as perfect almost, taking their place. We haven't seen that in many seasons. That makes this competition that much closer.
And of course, like any competition, the off-spawn battles are the beginning of a long road to victory for all these teams. Today, we've seen plenty of that here at Breakwater Bay. It looks like we'll get that again as the bus is moving from the northwest down to the southeast. Who's going to have the better drop in this battle between Pixie Delay, Vortexes, and Axe Force?
It changes the entire game. We saw the way Pixie and Delay were able to take control. Either one of these teams wants to play for the high ground.
But you can see once again, man, Pixie and Delay, they're already landed and have weapons and are taking shots before Vortexes and Axe Force have even landed. And you've seen the results of that there. Vortexes scurrying away. He's so low on HP as well. If they can close this one out, that would be so good. Oh dear.
They see that on the feed. Vortexes taken away by Reason from downtown.
From way downtown.
Axe Force 2, solo for the moment. Reason still hitting shots. I can't believe this. The one time I thought Vortexes had the movement, I was about to talk about Delay and Pixie's composure. Why did they give things up? Not only did they get the better drop, they saw so many other just loot items, shields, weapons all around them. They double back, they get full shields. They get combo weapons, they have the shotguns, they have the SMGs. They rock in with big firepower now and they know that Vortex was down. Delay goes in 1v1 up against Axe Force, which is not even just there yet. Editing in, denying the hammer. And just closing out, it looks like the day almost on this duo.
Pixie and Delay make and Breakwater theirs.
Giras Shari have to start this game out right. Let's check in with actually how that happens. You talk about drops. This is Giras using the pad. Arc actually running away. The chase down. DMR, big shots, looking good. A big thing for Giras right now is that this is the first game they're not in first place. They've come in every single game today, the first 4 on the throne. This time, merely just the bishop.
Hey, that might be better for them, right, in terms of taking that pressure off. I don't think there were too many people expected to be doing this well. And so we know how that goes sometimes for teams. When you're in contention to win the whole thing, the pressure can start to get on you, taking them off the hill where they're no longer the kings. Maybe, just maybe that extra push they need, that bit of a drive to keep them moving. Fred and Marius have been so dominant in these fights here against Jaggy and Boaz. In particular, Fred's performances today have been spectacular. I think Marius, the less experienced player out of the two, I think it might be his first FNCS final as well, and so maybe a bit of the nerves coming through because he is a very talented player himself in his own right. So hopefully as he gets into his rhythm, we can start to see him popping off in some of these fights as well.
Rhythm is the name of the game here in game number 5. Paco and Marine on the same beat. I saw it in the feed. Marine took down both in an instant. Paco was there each and every time. I was about to say, wait, I thought that Giras and Charrier were not in first place. This is just the Elim leaderboard overall. This duo somehow still staying aggressive. I think that first game, the 14 Elims, that's half of what they have. They just need one more like that. They could honestly win EU.
Hey, that's a very...
That's a bold, capitalized, underlined 88 font Times New Roman take.
Yes, no, definitely. It's a bold one, but look, they have performed very well. I think the question will be going into day 2. I know day 1's not done just yet. We still do have this game and another, but will they be able to hold on? Will there be adjustments made that they can handle going into that second day?
I'm looking at the leaderboard now. I misspoke. Backspacing the bold font. 298 points for Janice and Reason. And then Giras and Chavi, 213. They're almost 100 points ahead off of that game. And they were behind coming into it. So that's just, yeah. Day 1, I'm giving it to Janice and Reason. We got this game and one more left. I always eat my words, so I guess maybe I'm making it interesting, but that is phenomenal.
That is one big lead to have. And I said it earlier, I'll say it again. If Janice is able to win this FNCS and do the back-to-backs, I'll be real. You know, you really got to start talking about it more and more when we're talking about not just GOAT debates, but GOAT IGL debates, all of these kind of conversations. You have to start throwing his name in even more than you already do, because that would be 1.5 feet.
Almost 2 feet. In that case, I love GOAT debates so much. I love thinking about who the GOAT is right now because it makes no sense. But what does is Vanyak's just kind of solo pressure and performance. With Karmi there that game, they made it so far deep in game number 4. Looks so good towards these end zones. Have to make sure that 5th zone isn't an issue for Queasy and Vino. Seems to be the problem too. That 5th zone is just way too impactful on their game. It either makes or breaks them. And for a bunch of other duos, it's very different. They just survive through it. It doesn't define their actual competition. They stay consistent. They either have to take out Pixie so they have high ground or risk trying and just end up going down. I don't think that's a winning game plan for day 1.
Yeah, we saw them trip up way earlier than 5th last game as well, right? And that really sort of halted their progress in the standings. For this team here, Debut and Vexy, another team I don't think anybody would have expected them to be at 3rd place in game 5 of day 1. But nevertheless, they're there. And they've been rather impressive. They showed us what they can do in previous qualifier weeks. And today, it's been very much in that vein of, even with difficult zone circumstances, still finding Surge, still getting refreshes. This here is a very scary prospect for Bevies. Malibuka and Thomas looking to chop him out, using that hammer to rise through that tower, and Bevies will get out of there instantly. He did not want any smoke. My man hammered out faster than you could say the word hammer. That brother is gone.
I think he heard it charging up, but he instantly just pressed 5 right click.
Literally.
And looked somewhere else.
Did not think twice.
Shimoki Swizzy also staying high within the ranks. Far away, 200 points, close to almost to first place, I guess, after this game. But Shimoki Swizzy has been really good overall in both the weeklies and the Surge side of the competition of this major #1 here at the FNCS.
They might get the best placement of anybody to like move over to EU first season, right? Like if they were to finish top 5, like I don't think anyone's ever come from another region and on their first season like performed that well in EU specifically, which would be again crazy. Like that would be absolutely insane from that duo.
Have an entire different regions proud on their back right now. That's an absolutely amazing story. This is the game for a bunch of these teams that have had a little bit of a finicky day to come back and at least have a high point game for the moment.
One of my favorite teams today, of course, Fred and Marius. They've been so impressive in all aspects of the game. We have Taco here on the sideline to give us an update on what they're getting up to.
They've certainly been having a pretty solid day so far, Levin, but they're definitely trying to make sure that as far as being contested is concerned, they want to have the optimal loot and resources available for them. So immediately, Fred finding that key to utilize for a gold auto Maven. We see Marius as well utilizing the toilet in order to go to the slurp truck, get his shields up and ready as much as possible because they know an engagement is definitely possible.
I think the setup for these guys has been so consistent throughout these days. I think the key thing here is depending on where this zone pulls in the next 10 or so seconds will very much determine whether or not we'll see them at their best. Of course, it's not quite going to be the north zones we've seen them thrive in. Only a matter of time now until we know. Quite predictable down towards that southwest. So maybe another game where we'll see Queasy and Veno cook. Of course, they won on a zone like this.
They can definitely do it again. Rhinex Army just making their base. Bush Warriors looking for their shots. Fast Roki in the same position. No one can really challenge you because they can't really see. Teach us art skills. Still also hanging out in the top 10. What a story for them. Just hit Surge Week. Get that first win. Out towards the finals. And actually having a really dope time. If you see their progression over the seasons, they have really elevated their game.
Yeah, for sure. They were a team that, in my opinion, were too good to be playing in Surge Week, right? They were a team where I looked at and said, hold on a minute. There's no reason why you should be playing there. But they eventually were able to get out of there rather quickly, right? They did not give us much time to highlight their play before they secured their spot into the finals. And here they are. And they're definitely showing us why they deserved a spot here in today's lobby. Would love to see them pick things up a bit, but I think they have such a difficult situation when it comes to Surge and the area of the map. They land so many of these fights. Just so uncontrollable at times. And that causes a bit of variance in the standings. Even with that variance, we saw Jarko and Clone way deep in that last game, and that's pushed them up very high in the standings, Shayo.
This is very true. I mean, the biggest thing with Jarko and Clone, I feel like they don't follow like a traditional path all the way towards the end of the game. They follow favorable fights. They go from box to box to box to box, similar as how Mappy is right now. Although Deox usually not down, CZB falling, Nipsey not going to be here either.
I'm sorry, I was just giggling there. I'm happy to see. I'm not happy to see Nipsey going down. I want to see Nipsey thriving. Of course, playing in this first grand finals, he has it in his name, Nipsey in grands. Of course, very happy about that accomplishment. Won't be happy to be fighting Mappy and Diox though. Those two can be two players that are very hard to push over in fights. And of course, they hold such a high potential for pop-off games as well.
This has to be the pop-off game for some of these players in the top 10. One thing I'm noticing, a lot of these players from 5th to 10th to 15th place in really good spots right now. Look at Floki and Bat Sniper, almost 1,000 damage above Surge. Looking good on this big hill, have so much control. Have to be able to convert that. Clement and Deceptos as well, usually locked down, rotating, catching up the zone. Now actually have a home in it. Gear has taken out Queasy in the feed. So that changes the flavor of the game. Chari finds the full finish. And I didn't even see a knock symbol, so he might have just been alone.
Vino is still up in this one. There was that double confirming the feed, and so Vino all alone in this one at a similar point in the game that Queasy had to play out alone. And so we'll see if Vino will be able to do a better job than Queasy as a solo. You definitely expect him to.
He has that prowess. He has a little bit more of the immediate, aggressive, fast firepower. The reason this is happening is in the games before, a lot of the map was actually moving down, then right first. We saw a lot of congestion over towards just the east and the south side when moving into a zone like this. Now everyone's staying a little bit more towards the north, moving left, then going down. And that's the path that Queasy and Vino are on. They're not going to have the dead side they're used to. They'll have to fight through different cities. And right now, this just looks like trouble, absolutely, but it's... Yeah, I thought it might be a situation where, you know, you're not... you're locked in the box with me, I'm not locked in the box with you, blah, 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 but quick work of Vino there from Coop and Cade. That's unfortunate to see this top duo who won a game in this zone go down.
Yeah, didn't play it though the way they did the first time round, right? And so instead of playing ultra dead side, looking to use a boat rotation, instead pushing through, almost white lining the zone completely to get to this point. And the zone pullback actually, right? In terms of it doesn't go all the way southeast again, it does actually pull back towards the center a bit, and so that's gonna have a big impact on how this plays out. Of course, with Reason being down, Janice having to play as a solo. There will be opportunities for players to catch up if he goes down. There is a big lead though still in that first place to second place threshold. Chari and Giras will be doing their best to overcome it. Of course, already taking down some top dogs in this one. And they're looking to take down even more. They know those players are there in the storm behind that wall. It's Cade and Coop. We just saw pick up Vino. Oh, wow, look at those shots from Chari onto Coop.
They want to close the gap, they really do. This is exactly what it's about. And this is not how Chari and Giras were playing a lot of their other games. They were waiting for slightly different zones, the fourth and the fifth one, this time in third. Absolutely locked in and online. This is the best spot to go for these shots to the zone. We'll move slowly as it's very close to that white line. Joking for Chawa, this is kind of the situation, a perspective that is so tough to watch. A team that is just slow on surge. Okay, just came out of the zone, just had so much pressure, forced into a fight, but this might just be exactly what they're looking for, a refresh on Mats. Kid looking for a little bit more. Coop finds him one of the refreshes too, and he finds a lot of materials, almost already max capped, but now they're running out of time. Shotgunned again, up inside zone, pushed out, a single bullet will take him down, but Cade survives.
By the skin of his teeth as well. Like you said, any bit of damage would have been enough to completely take them out of the game. Jackie there, you look like he was a solo. It seems like Boaz went down. Chari and Giras though, still in this one. I don't know if they realize he's right above them. Well, they will now. But that doesn't matter. They just want to get to zone, and that's what they'll do. They can sit here now and just hold Jackie when it's time for him to move into the zone, and they know it. They're just waiting for him to show himself, and he will now as he tries to hammer on in.
Right in front of their box. They need these points too. So very close. A game of just inches for them. 60 points behind. And we know that Janice is down. It's just Reason for now. Other way around, actually. Just Janice in that pilot seat. Giras and Chari can make this a two-horse race in day number one.
This would be the time for them to do it. They weren't able to pick up Jaggy, but they still do have a stake in this game, some mats to play with. Wherever that zone pool, though, is going to be crucial for their success in this game. The View and Vexy, who have been so good as well. They are down with Surge. And it's hitting them hard, it's affecting them. They need to fight for it. They can't sit here and hold on. That will be the end of their game. Vexy falls. It looks like the View is going to follow as well. Going to use that last mini that will keep him alive just that bit longer. But eventually, will roll over. The View and Vexy, who came into this game in third, they fall rather early. And so Janice, an opportunity to hold on to his lead, but he's down on Surge Shayo.
And we haven't really seen this perspective before. They've been so good, almost on vacation until the end game starts. A different plan from Janice as he bases up beside different duos. He's not really looking for that dead side, not really looking to save many materials. He has to go for any specific type of shot. In 1 second, yep, team's aside, and we'll hear that shield crack now. It's ever more so dangerous. Floki looking in the box, and we know that bad sniper will pounce. The moment he has a chance, it is Swizzy, though, who's there with Shimoki, easily pick up that body. They had a second, but no, it's Floki and Bad Sniper that got the loot. Looks like Shimoki's actually desperate. They might force this fight.
They want to fight for it. They feel like they deserve the loot. They want it for themselves. But with Floki and Bad Sniper in that spot, it's always going to be hard to force them away.
And Floki was not planning for this at all. They were looking ahead to zone. They heard that shield crack. A little bit of a distraction, but they'll be fine as other teams are moving too. Right next to the team above them, the tree will block the way. They're going to be here on north side, but honestly, there's no safe spot in the zone at all. It's evenly spread out all across the circle.
Yeah, Giras and Chari sitting slightly higher in their elevation. They're going to keep looking around. Any sort of a limb they get will just start to close that gap. It's so crucial that they do their best in this game now to not just win, but to win with high eliminations as well.
Cammy and Seti still having a few struggles. Finally ahead of the threshold, but it's cost Seti his entire health bar. Chuck splashes and minis in the way to get him back up to par in terms of shields, but that is their end game plan of being able to survive. They will not have the chunks to play the zone. They have to pray these next 3 seconds that they get that white circle on the bottom right of the map, and it's not good enough. Have to move over to the left, spelling disaster for Seti and Cammy, just teetering outside of that top 10 theory, and later going down beside their boxes. They might have to work towards that loot, get those easy mats. Can they tell that one player's down?
They're barely above. They need to deal damage. And so even in a situation where you think they start to look towards zone and start planning out their next move, they're sitting here and they're just trying to figure out what they can do to take players out. Lena falls in front of them, and they're going to be able to profit from that loot, but they're not the ones that did the damage. 50 above. Still such a shady and shaky position to be in.
Every single duel towards the north side is looking down towards these boxes. Seti and Cammy are the first line of defense against all northern teams, and he just gets pumped down. Both Seti and Cammy taken out by Hydro.
Hydro taking out 2 of the top players in this lobby. A 1v2 that deep into the game. There's already the signs of a big solo clutch from him. We'll keep our eyes peeled. Zara and Zangi, they have a ways to go, and that journey will start now with their hammers. We're seeing the same from Thomas and Malabuka as they make their way into the zone.
Possibility once again for Rivers to come into play as we wait for the moving zones to show up. Thomas HD, Malabuka, adaptable, dynamic, lethal. They'll have a way to move in and just pick apart the best positions to be in every single zone. The question is, where does that zone land? No one is invested into their positions. I think 3 stories is the max I see every single base. They're waiting for the next position.
Who's it gonna be to actually have some initiative in this game?
They think that Queasy and Vino might be a possibility. That Pix is there, that there's so many other teams that are taking that high ground. A bunch of them have gone down in that early game. They're not some crazy height holders who will have it for a majority of the time. Giras and Chari had it very calmly in the game that they won. And that was also primarily supremely from low. They gave it up very early. Now everyone has to move all the way down towards the south. Floki Bat Sniper had one of the most recent refreshes. They'll go first. Malabuka taken out. And I'm not sure if that's Thomas as well, because he went down so fast. Queasy also fully removed from the game.
Latcher and Mixon, they're going to have to start making their move, but as they do that, Thomas is going to look to take out his former teammate there. That was Tayson he connected a big shot onto. And he is still sitting below, so he needs to find a position where he can start dealing damage. And he's going to choose to do it right here in the middle of the zone. Get all the angles of everybody around him. Shamoki still in this one, but Swizzy is not here. And that means his power level is so much lower. He's waiting for a team to hammer, trying to connect a shot, and he will miss.
This is his last chance. One impulse. No mats, no surge damage. He needs something, but he can't really find it. And now taken down to 1 HP. He'll be bare bones and taken down. Thomas HD was the one trying to find him. He'll also go down to the storm. This entire game, this game 5, I hear less bullets. I see fear. A bounce back that changes the plan for so many teams. This is tough for everyone around, and they have to resort to the hammers. They go all the way back. It's Zangi up top with no Zara.
We finally wanted to see somebody go up for height, and when we do, it's a solo who hasn't even got much mats to hold it. How's he going to hold on? He's trying to connect now as he gets chopped out. It looks like Bevies and Pablo Ingo are going to be the one to try and go for it again.
This is their favorite course, their perfect game. We saw it so much over in week 2. No power team available on height. They take it in a flash. Zangi still holding on. Pablo on the left side is trying to go for that high ground, taking down to almost 1 HP. It's the Fire Bro on the backside. Pablo holds on. Bevy's at full. It's just a solo on high ground. Chari and Giras are there. Meanwhile, Blacha on the low ground, trying for his clutch. Meanwhile, on height still, there's Fire Bro to the sky. Chari and Giras avoid everything. This is huge for Chari and Giras. They have to try to hold on to that first place.
Fire Bro, though, causing such an issue for them, and he had no match, barely picking up one note as he farms this tree way deep into this end game. He has to try and find something as a solo.
Does he have a Shadow Storm? Pop, this man's invisible. Finally taking one shot. No match living that long is very impressive, but Pablo will see you when you make mistakes. He doesn't let a single one pass, and he's looking at people through builds. Nebs chops height, and now Nebs and Pink have the high ground.
They've spent the whole season playing mid and low, but when the opportunity arose, they went for it. But unfortunately, doesn't know that they'll be able to hold it.
I mean, look at the cost for Pablo, though. The big issue, no mats. It's all on Bevies to see exactly what he can do. One more jump up towards the sky should be enough, and Pablo knows it now. He has nothing to hold on. It's a final all-in. He wants to get inside that box, taken almost all the way down. A last effort shot is not going to be enough, and Bevies, too, is chopped down.
He tried to force his way into the box, but he was no match. Scram, tripping, down below. They've been silent, and they might just get shut out completely.
There's too many souls alive right now. You think you have a little bit of control as a duo, and then Trippern comes by and takes a shot at your wall. Block shot goes down! What a big one from Trippern. 2 people on his wall. He doesn't falter. JJ2 getting healed up by those splashes. Gonna be a chance for him to land another shot here. Glove sheet, all his HP back up. So many solos here with just one duo on height.
He's waiting them out. They have to make a move, and when they do, it will cause his demise. Forced into the storm, and Glubshy and JJ2 finally have a moment to breathe here on low ground.
Everything slows down. Vortex and Belusi somehow have waited things out. Their patient game plan reigns true. 2 duos with a sandwich solo in between. It's Vixen. And yes, he loves the problems, the fights to come to him. But this one might be just a bit too much to handle. He's somehow still surviving. Vortex sees his body through the wooden builds. Finds some healing, but Belusi will find him out soon. He runs into the zone to heal. The real 2v2 is right before our eyes.
Belusi and Vortex now, can they close this out? Belusi's down to nothing when it comes to materials. They're eventually going to have to drop down and start using these shotguns. JJ2 waiting down below with Glubshy. They pick up another. That's their 8 for the game.
There's so many matches to farm to. Vortex and Belusi drop. They're actually running low. Oh no, the hammer sends Belusi straight towards the zone. It's just Vortex now in the 1v2. Dodges the shot. Belusi from the back actually catches up. And now, just the 1v1 with J2 up top. He goes towards the sky. A big shot. A drive-by. J2's looking for it. Patience. The shot. Dodge. And Belusi's down. JJ2 survives the pressure and wins the game.
JJ2 and Glubshy win it out from below. And what we just saw there, Shire, was complete anarchy. When the high ground teams weren't there to control the tempo, everything went off the rails, all around, up, down, everywhere. I didn't know what was going on after that end game. But in the end, it's JJ2 and Glubshy that closed things out, and you saw it throughout. Down below, just cleaning teams up as they walked around, and JJ2, a cheeky little right-hand peek at the end. Easy as you like.
Glubshy, JJ2, if Chaos was a game, if Fear Toxin was injected into EU, it would be in game number 5. That was just insane to watch. Too many things, too many solos.
Hey, look, this is looking like very classic EU stuff, right? Game 5 always is a bit of a question mark going into that final one. The big teams, right, giving us a chance to let other people shine for a second. And in this one, it was Glubshy and JJ2. To break it all down, though, we got Frankie.
Wow, wow, wow. It's been such an interesting turn of events in the last few games because we have seen new players to the FNCS Grand Finals make their mark. And the perfect example of that is Glubshy with his partner, JJ2. This is a player who's making their debut in the Grand Finals, as I just mentioned, and they're absolutely tearing it up.
Yeah, they are. And JJ2 and Glubshy have done great all season. I particularly noticed how well they played was in week number 1 finals. They were just popping off. They were able to pick up so many eliminations. They're such a great fighting duo. I know Glubshy's one of the most up-and-coming players, of course, on Wave as well. Just such a fantastic talent. JJ2 consistently been a great fighter. So when this duo come together, they're really a force to be reckoned with.
And look, remember, there are 12 total matches, 6 matches today, 6 matches tomorrow. So if they're able to finish strong here in day 1, now going into the last match shortly, that's going to kind of build up the momentum for them and that mentality going into day number 2. So I'm really loving what we're seeing from this duo.
Yeah, I mean, what I really like about the way they played this as well is Glubshy was actually using the bush right there at the end, using the bush warrior augment to get his heals up, to get those whites up, which then enabled them to get enough HP in order to close out this game. The leaderboard is looking open though, Frankie. Of course, we saw Janice and Reason going down very, very early there, so the top spot's open.
That's because they didn't want to have to rotate. They
didn't want
need that circle in there. Yeah, that is my theory, and that's what I'm going to be sticking with until I'm proven wrong. That's a challenge to Janice and Reason. But let's take a look at the standings after that. So Janice and Reason, they certainly did enough to keep themselves in contention. And Jirus and Chari, I mean, they're still looking good. The highest eliminators in the lobby right now, even if they're not quite so consistent in their placement.
Yeah, Gyros, of course, he is one of the players that is also having his first appearance in an FNCS Grand Final. And this is a great performance in there. As you mentioned, Frankie, the highest number of eliminations out of anyone. So to come into your first FNCS Grand Finals with a bang like this, just being so aggressive. We see so many teams when they're making their first appearance, a little bit shy, a little bit more careful with eliminations. These guys are just throwing all of that out the window.
Run is making me want to gamble again. About to take my second mortgage out right now. Run! Yo! No!
You can't lose. Keep going.
No! 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 Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Wait!
Oh my god!
Wait, it's big! This is big! Holy shit!
Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm touching myself! Oh my god! Wait, what the fuck?
No way! No way! Okay, I need to leave call. I need to leave call.
I'll stop dogging. I'll stop dogging.
Stop dogging. Holy shit! I don't understand how you have so long. No, I'm not even lying. I swear to God, I'm not even lying. He's not even lying. I swear to God. You are like.
Alright, I did not make 600,000. I made $6, Chad.
Yeah, $6. $6. Not
No, I'm
600,000.
being serious.
He's being serious. He's being serious.
Alright, I'm about to go buy a SVJ.
Good luck.
Let's see here. I gotta take a mortgage out, bro.
I'm gonna die! Oh, it's a cash cup. I thought I was in arena. Oh my god.
20 bucks.
I think about you all the time. I thought I was in a. I forgot I was in a solo cash cup.
Holy fuck, bro. How did the shittiest drops get the best loot? Cap, bro. How's it only 20? And he has a fucking hammer, bro. I need aerial list right now. Uh-oh. 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 Lawrence Jr., bro. Okay, so can someone explain to me how I land like on like 55 fucking chests, loot this whole area, loot faulty, and I've never gotten this good of loot in my entire life, and I just landed on a fucking chest and a shack, and I have the best loot I've ever had. How the fuck does that make sense?
Next game that's coming up as well, because for me, I'm thinking, okay, we're seeing circles that are playing into Janice Reason's favor, and we're seeing obviously for Queasy and Vino. But what about some of the juries we haven't seen much from so far?
Kenny Stone, why not?
Yeah, why not?
That'd be quite nice.
Well, we are ready, gentlemen, to go into game number 6. So who is going to be picking up the final victory royale of the day? Let's find out.
Game number 6 of day 1. 6 more to go after. But Shayo, so far we've seen such a mixed bag in terms of the teams and the players that have stepped up here in the grand finals.
Yeah, we're seeing new players and old. Mini says new. I say maybe it's Mickey Miner, you know. I don't think that might be the case. When it comes to game number 6, on day number 1, the big boys come out to play, and they look so good doing it.
And we are hopping right into the action. We've seen so many of these off-spawn battles go either which way, it seems. When it comes to Ping and Kyrie, of course, they'll be the first to land, as a bus did go across Lonely Labs first. And they've had a fairly easy time here in some of the games where they haven't been contested, but having to push around and fight for Surge has been a bit difficult for them at times, and that's why they're not quite sitting so high in the standings. Over here, though, Fred, Marius have been rather successful up against Jaggy and Boaz. And once again, I think we're going to see that here. Boaz caught sleeping, not aware at all, and Jaggy having to fend as a 1.
Their movement better, their shoes cleaner. The restaurants they eat at, that much just tastier.
More nutritious.
More nutritious. Marius and Freddy roll in, and looks like they have a 6th sense at this drop spot. Just leave. That has to be it for day 2, right?
Yeah, if you're Boaz and Jaggy, it's your first FNCS final. You've not had the best success. They're literally sitting way down near the bottom of the leaderboard. I'd very much consider at that point in day 2 switching up your drop spot, opting to go somewhere else, and there will be options for them.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen them also. Sometimes a day 2 is a little bit more favored to the team that ended up losing day 1. They fought a few a little bit, they find some of those mistakes, but a lot of the times there should be a few more spots that might just open up. Janus, Reason, 80-point lead, cut down to 30 now in this game. Janus survived a little bit, just a little bit, but now the duel's back alive.
Hopefully you stay alive.
Oh no.
Love to see him close things out well.
Okay, big pull up from Lushi, and he's going for a few shots. Somehow he's alive. Another big pull up from Lushi. There's just no way. Arto really working for this one. Up against a man with no mats and no problems. Lushi. Okay, finally down. Oh my goodness.
How did he stay alive that long? I don't get it. Arto and Piotr, look, props to them. They finish the fight. But, yeah, no, Lushi's a little dancer there. He was jumping all about the place. Zara and Zangi. Actually pick up Dark and Clone. Wow, okay. So switching things on their head a bit. Dark and Clone had a decent couple of games, but in this last one of the day, they'll have to watch from the sideline. Feels Pink and Nebs profiting from the fight from Arto. Taking a bit too long. They're able to just sort of watch from afar with that red eye and take some shots.
And they jumped up all the way to 4th in that last game. That was one of the most surprising things that we saw so far. I think they're right there, neck and neck, with Bixen, with Blotcha actually, and Mixon. And so these two, anytime they get an Elam on the board, it looks like they're going to be trading places overall. So 3rd place for Nebs and Pink right now. Thomas HD, Malabuka, up near Anvil Square, a quick rotation. That fight is going on for, what, 7 more chapters, you said? So they'll have a guarantee for some Surge, but...
Hey, look, I'm a Savage fan. I am a Mr. Savage fanboy, and so it pains me to see this happening. It really does. I want to see Mr. Savage, you know, fighting for an FNCS championship. It's been so long.
He is, man. He's cooking season to season.
For next season.
For next season.
He'll be on con next season. Okay. Next season he'll be on con, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
We've seen the games where he does make it off of spawn. Those magical, once-in-a-lifetime golden start games, and it's absolutely nuts what happens when he's actually allowed to play the game.
Well, look, it was only Elite Cup finals, what, like yesterday or 2 days ago, where they won 6-0 spawn, and they finished really high up in the standings, right? So, like, the potential's definitely there. But, unfortunately, not materializing so far today. Has Vino changed his name to Vino Day 2 in between games?
In between games.
That's scary for the rest of the lobby. You don't want to mess with Vino Day 2, I'm telling you that.
Might not be scary so much in day 1, I guess, then.
Yeah, no.
This game, he's just kind of completely locking off. Savage up in this fight. Coop and Cade, formidable opponents, and you see them actually run so many fights up inside the mid-game. Risky part of Anvil Square, or any spot where you know there's a guaranteed fight. Inside game 6, you might have some nosy visitors, some nosy neighbors that might just drop by that you're not expecting. Another duo walking right by. Anvil Square seeing this up. People need to make their last minute adjustments. They need to find their surge. It's the last game of the day here in Europe. 6 more tomorrow, but this is the 6th today. And that might spell trouble for anyone who's just kind of static in their spots.
And that's always a threat and a big possibility when you're landing at a mid-map spot, especially one where the fights last so long. It was actually Malibuka and Thomas that was sneaking in there looking to third party, and they don't land there, right? So they clearly understand the opportunity that arises from the fights that take place there. For Ark and Zaka, we've not actually got to see them at their best, right? Such a dominant performance in the Surge week round, but unfortunately here, off spawn today, they've had their fair share of struggles. And they're gonna have to turn things around on day 2. At least here in game 6, they'll be able to get a better feel for the lobby as they make their preparations tonight, hit the VOD review, figure out what is going wrong and how they can improve it.
They have to look for those game 5s, those game 10s or 11s where they know the majority of the lobby, the strong players, might have trolled a bit and aren't in game. You get a very Surge week-esque situation pop up, a lobby that doesn't have the best of the best players. It's a little bit of the middle of the pack of the lobby that's still alive, and that's where they can get a lot of their points. Thrifty, Flodax, same type of situation. Really good at initially having high ground. Really good at kind of plotting the chart of where to be from zone 1 to zone 6. Then it's tough. You have to ego against Squeezy and Vino. You have to just kind of be resilient against Shockwave Hammer after Shockwave Hammer. The experience just isn't there yet, but they have those building blocks at least in day 1.
But even then, they've not been able to consistently get into that position, right? It's why they're not sitting high in the standings. And so in those games, you've got to deliver. You've got to have that big performance to make up for it if you're not going to be able to do it every single game. And I think that's the next piece of the puzzle for that duo.
Big thing too right now, you look at Chari, you look at Giras, and right as I say that they're on screen, this is their home zone. If you could find the middle of what zone would be their landing, it would be this one on the top right. They have complete control, and Giras might have just lost it completely. A huge beam, but he has so much shields. He has a lot more loot as well. All the way up towards, a little bit towards the left side of the biomes overall. In the snow, looking at Breakwater Bay, and anyone else coming in from Anvil. Anvil's in zone right now, so Giras is not going to expect the same amount of duos to walk right by him, unless he waits for this first zone to lock out, and that second zone pulls all the way towards the right. Right now, it's all about bullying other bases. 242s back to back. They're not faltering. Takata said they're not really feeling the pressure. It's looking really just calm for them so far today. And that seems to still be the case.
Yeah, trading damage there with Pachawa. Both players benefit out of the situation. Of course, actually there we spotted he had the Danger Hero augment, so I'd love to see that come to life later in this game. Facing the Mustache, who haven't quite had the kind of day I think many people expected them to have. They've looked so good uncontested out of Northside Slappy. And obviously, we know that they've been working on some of their weaknesses in the weeks leading up to this competition. I think everybody starts to get hyped up at the possibility of Tayson coming out winning another FNCS. But from this position, where they currently sit in the standings, you'd have to have the best performance of his life in day 2 to make that a reality.
In the past, the easiest mistakes to fix were always these endgame ones about kind of sticking together. It's very easy to conceptualize what to do next. The biggest issue I feel like for Tayson, and a lot of duels of that caliber lower on the board, Thomas HD, Queasy overall, the mistakes happen in that second, third zone. It's how they get into the endgame. That's the problem right now. Loki Bass Sniper, though, top 6 pull zone. And this zone is very favorable for the team in second, who's trying to beat Janus and Reason on day 1, Chari and Giras. They're right on that zone line. They have 2 very big bases. If you're Mariah and you're Paco, you're coming in from the south, you will see them. If you're any duo coming in, you will see them, you will falter.
Look, it's not a favorable zone for Orion and Paco, but they're making things work. They pick up Diox and Mappy, and that goes a long way in terms of picking up Surge, right, as they rotate all throughout the map.
They need white on their screen soon, though. At least on the mini-map. I don't see snow just yet. Not even close to where the next zone's gonna be. This is way up north. A quarter of that zone has water in it towards the north side of the island. Haven't really seen something like this just yet that really pulls this far up north. And you know the pattern. Every time a zone pulls up north, it's more likely to pull up in the same direction it already went. So if it was north, it'll go north again. That's usually what ends up happening. And that's going to be tough for so many teams. They'll be absolutely drive mats.
Yeah, nah, for sure. I think we'd expect it to go north. It is typically a trend, except for that one season in Chapter 3 where like we just had pullback zones all the time. That was something. Fred and Mariuso, and they used this last game to showcase some of their highlights. Unfortunately, ZX goes down there, and I'd like to imagine Savage is also down. So if that's the case, oh no, Savage is still up. He's still up. He's still fighting. Go on, Savage. Mr. Savage fans rise.
He's definitely trying his best, and there's so many duels all around. Rifty here too. I want to give a big props to Coop and Cade. Contested every single game, and they're in the top 10 still. 8th place overall.
Yeah, and look, we got Taco here with us to explain how they've managed to control it so well.
11. Actually, Coop already doing a great job at just assessing who is actually a threat in the area of Anvil Square. He's done an excellent job building up, utilizing that red eye to get as many surge tags as possible. Because he has such a great overview of the entirety of Anvil Square, he's able to actually prevent duos that are looking to rotate both in and out. And we saw him just secure an elimination, so it seems as though this ideal positioning is really working out well for them.
Thank you very much, Taco. Right, we talked about how difficult it can be at Anvil with all these different teams rotating in and around. And so just having Coop up there with the bird's eye view, just sort of ushering teams away, very effective strategy for them, and it's part of the reason why they've done so well today.
On the other side, he's still pushing in actually. Coop and Cade, I thought the action was gonna stop for a second. He's still going. It's up against JJ2. Love JJ2, one of the hardest duels to fight and actually take down. It feels like you're fighting someone that has 400 HP effectively, rather than 200. It might be their movement, it might just be the extra shields they're allowed to carry. I don't know what it is, but that duel never goes down. It costs Coop and Cade to have a little bit of a pit stop before they get to the next part of zone. 37 seconds till it locks in. They're still pressuring this. Why? Look towards the right side of your screen. Storm Surge, the damage threshold number, 84 above. It needs to stay above 0, or these guys will take damage. 84 above is not really enough. It can go down fast already. We started at 96. It's at 81. We need to find some shotgun shots. They're not moving from monument to monument. They're trying to find duo to duo. Still moving in. Finally find one. Gonna go for a shot on the Karmi. Have to catch up to the zone though. Taking a bit too much damage. 27, now just 3 above. That total is going so far down. Below the threshold, now above is, looks like Cade finds another shot, but it's not enough. This is trouble for Coop and Cade.
Yeah, you can see just how desperate Coop is, completely tunnel visioning onto any possibility of an elim. And now gonna look potentially to just hammer up there. Hammer into zone. He wants to take that fight with Vortex and Belusi, but it just isn't really gonna fall for him. Cade still needs to catch up as well.
You take the situation, you multiply it by 10. That's exactly what's going down towards the south side of the zone. Every single duo is in trouble that's moving in really late. CZB and Nipsey and Grant still all the way, about 30 seconds back in the zone. They're taking lightning strikes from the sky like it's breakfast, like it's nothing. And they're just trying to heal their way through it. Cammy going down, the one redeeming game they could have had. The learning all throughout the day, not a chance.
It's a shame. All the hype about the rivalry. They need to have a better day too. Of course, the Invitational Champions, the Buell and Vexy, showcasing part of why they've been so high up in the standings there against Fred and Marius. Big couple of shots there from Vexy.
Vexy letting a few shots. That feed is telling me a lot. Coop actually going down to Belusi on the left side. We'll go to the replay for just a sec. Vexy looking at it, completely wrapping around the right side of that build. Absolutely perfect play off of pressure on the off his duo. It's nuts. The Bull actually going down to give him the shot in the box. Ref's guard. So that's what he did. Taking out Thomas HD. They were so high up in the base by themselves, him and Malabuka. He takes the shot, applies the pressure, and then goes in with the Shockwave Hammer, comes back, waits for one charge to recharge so he has an escape again. And now he's close and personal. They find the full body.
Hey, look, Ref's guard has a reputation for making wild plays at times, but this time around, things working out for him.
Well, Ref's guard and Hellfire really done these last 5 games. is just kind of react to the lobby and kind of go with the flow. This is the first time I've seen Refsguard actually take Destiny in his own hands, force the pick, push the fight, under a bridge almost. A very bad spot to get absolutely total down into. And that's what just might happen right here. Malibuca in trouble. Refsguard knows how many duels are here side by side. Him and Hellfire, once again, first time they're playing together this seventh season. They need to get out fast.
But they're not done yet. They've realized the opportunity there to do a bit more damage. Get up on Surge just that bit more. 200 above is never too safe. And now the Swings update round with the extra damage added. 358, almost up to 400, a lot more comfortable now. And that's Mr. Savage there on the receiving end of all that pressure.
It's all the Stevie Stacks boys.
He actually picked up ZX.
Ooh.
So they are still a duo in this one, albeit looking incredibly scuffed, but a chance to play out the game.
Absolutely. All they need to do is just find a refresh, and there's so many duels going down right close by near the Storm. Center's out now, the zone. It buys everyone a little bit of time to get in. It's not just too crazy. Look who has control, though, and one of the best sides of it, Reason Janus.
This team, I'm gonna run out of things to say about how impressive they've been. They have truly been a force to be reckoned with in this lobby, and they have put themselves in the prime position to be able to take home the championship tomorrow. That would be 2 on the trot for Janus, and 1 for Reason as well. Nebs and Pink, after that incredible clutch play last game, have moved themselves way up in the standings. And even though they came into things not too confident, they've definitely had a day that they'll be proud of. But they need to close things out strong, and that starts with dealing that bit of damage to put them up above on Surge. It's Pacing and Mustache at the bottom of the hill that are gonna be the ones blocking them. Pink just throwing himself to their feet, and that will be the end of their run. Still though, a very good first day. We'll see how far they get pushed down though, because remember they started this game in 4th Shio. You'd like to imagine people are probably gonna catch up to them now.
Already in that spot, going down in 5th. Taysom Mustache holding on just to top 10. This is the game they can end kind of in top 5. Taking down Nebs and Pink there, they might just take their spot at the end of this game.
That definitely could happen. A big team taken out for their progress in the leaderboard.
The Siptos Clement, Pablo Wingo Bevies, and you have Taysom right there side by side in the same 3x3 box. It's gonna be insane. Chari and Gearus, a little bit more overall southern zone. They're looking for shots, but this might be a disaster. I haven't seen them in this position before. Maybe as solos. They're under Surge. This is what happens when you have zone. I thought they had the perfect Surge.
Yeah?
Everyone had to walk past them. They got nothing.
Not everybody can handle when they get that home zone, right? You would have thought they'd be up on Surge this game. Nevertheless, there is still time to make things happen, but they ain't got many shields to work with. They can't out-heal. They're gonna have to deal damage ensue.
It's Refsguard towards the right and Malibuca towards the left. 2 players who can't really all in. Chari Gearus, they're looking for it and sense of fight here. JJ2 there too. Some of the stickiest, most resilient duos, and there's more on the right side. They're going for the all-in.
They have to get in the box. They know it. They know the opportunity's there. JJ2 was ready for it though. Big shot on the defensive side. Geras was no match for it. And Chari now as a solo is going to start getting ticked away. And now he has to do even more damage than he initially did before. A big shot there. And that will keep him alive. And Surge is not something he has to worry about for the meantime. But still, he's lost a teammate. He's lost some shields as well.
This is all about staying alive. They have that 5th zone. This is usually where solos go down. They can't make the rotation, but he just needs to stay very close, comfortable, secure. Malibuca, I think, is in his building. Maybe just up 1 layer. Looks like, yes, as a solo as well. So there's a lot of people just inside this asylum, it looks like, looking for a little bit of hope.
And there's a lot more coming. The zone pulls right on it, right? And so they need to do a good job of claiming their space, because you never know, someone might fall into your lap.
Chari needs to hold on to this. If he goes down, Janus Reason, the duo that's in first place for the moment, have a free run to push their lead. Look at the mats from Chari. We talk about Surge, 177 below with 3 materials and this type of loadout. I would not wish this on my worst enemy. This is shambles. Absolutely poor. Poverty from Chari here. He dove in 1 box before, he had some timing. He needs to find it now.
He's praying for anything, something. A gift from the lobby would just be enough to keep him pushing in this game. The problem he has, though, is that if he had any hopes of first place, with Janison Reason still alive, still in strong in this game, those chances are dwindling and fast. Arto and Piotr trying to come back like many of the other teams in this lobby. And from where they sit, they have access to that nice zone.
The best zone, and right below them is Janison Reason. The counter height players. They are kind of the heavyweights that just wait on the ropes. Every other duo tires himself out. They let high ground take all the pressure from every single hammer, and then they wait till late and pick it up over.
This zone is so good for them. It's so good for them. They can play their game, play dead side, rotate, look to take height when needed.
Queasy and Vino aren't done yet. Just one layer above all the destruction these hammers cause. A double chain reaction at 126 in the air. Vino is just too good. And he's gonna chase this. Block off on one side, double it down. It's the classic free fire. It's not gonna really land, but this man makes it look easy.
He's clearly feeling it, making it look like he's playing creative right now. Vexy's in the box next to him. Chari will finally fall. Reason and Janice, they're still in this game.
3-14, 40 points ahead. Make that almost 50 now. As Reason and Janice look for the next jump. Artur, Piotr, all the way towards the backside. They're looking mighty fine. Not a single hammer in sight to really take them down just yet.
Swizzy and Shamoki, we've picked them up. They've come to new territory and they've made it theirs. And they're gonna look to close out the day strong, put themselves into contention to lead the Storm tomorrow. Delay and Pixie, we know they want to be up above the lobby, but right now they just have to stay where they are.
Height gonna be so interesting as everyone has to now just slide down this mountain slowly. It's an avalanche of players as the zone moves towards the south. Cammy down, Savage still around, knocking out another player. That might be a crazy solo clutch if I've ever seen one. Freddy's still in the business. Vino, I don't see Queasy. He's high up above. Reason taking out JJ2 like it's nothing. He takes a big shot, walks off the wall. Janice also beside him, getting pressured. He has to get out, and does. Towards the left side, I'm still looking at Reason. He's by himself. Vino up top finds another big shot, and more loot to take. It's fast Roki. They get shot down slow. Queasy still alive, and they are together.
They're not up on high, but they're still looking strong. When are they gonna make their move? Looking to use that shockwave hammer now just to get ahead of the zone. Piotr gonna take shots at them. Artur still trying to contest, but they're staying high. They still want to look to take it at some point.
Artur, what a nice hold. We haven't really seen this today. A duel so high up with such stability, not even a hammer can reach him, but this is the first time, and the bush saves Artur.
Artur stays in the game, but can he keep fighting in this game? They need to hit a shot deep in the back of the zone, gets knocked way out of it, and he still has the chunk splashes. He still might be able to get into the zone, just a couple seconds away, but no, he'll fall.
No chance, no shotgun, no big damage, and no speed. Vino, however, has all those things, and he's by himself now, up against Delay, a story we've seen all day. Vino not gonna stop. Now it's a hammer that hits the ground, but that might just be perfect. What a nice adaptation. It's like he meant for it to happen. Vino's looking for his next shot.
He's not got the build. He has to connect to a shot. He still does have that shockwave, and he's going to look to make plays of it. That's what Malabuka's doing. Piotr still up here on height. Pseudo height player right now. Nobody knows he's so weak above. Nobody knows that they have a chance to take it. Bad Sniper still in this one. Dropped down into the zone and forced out of the lobby. Vino still alive, but for not much longer. All the solos struggling to stay in this one.
Shamoki, Swizzy, trapped down below. Freezing over. Need to find something. How far on the back might make things warm. A big edit, 2 triangles, and then just hits the feet all the way from the bottom side. Shamoki's just too good. But the zone's now taking over. It's a battle of time. He finds the siphon. Does he have a hammer? Absolutely. Over Mustache, blocked by the box. He has a few builds to keep working with it. Just 100 left now. Malabuka up top. He goes straight towards the cliff. Mustache beside him, but they're on separate teams. They look towards each other as Hellfire goes down. Oh my goodness, Swizzy is there down below too. Malabuka broken down, but he jumps right back up, straight towards the builds. So smart, and he goes straight back over again. Another big shot towards the top. Malabuka versus Mustache, and it's Mali that wins. He can now take the whole game.
Former brothers, but now they are enemies. Malabuka still fighting though. He still has a chance up against Shamoki. He's no match. The team that came from Asia to EU finished the day on top of everybody in this lobby. They get the victory. They show why they are in contention.
From a rivalry of brothers to a match from Asia to EU, that is a bonkers endgame. Up in the cold, dry north. but still, no absence of heat in that one, Levin. That was an amazing display of skill.
That was not even duo FNCS at a certain point. I felt like it was just solos clutching all across the board. Malabuka versus Mustache in that fight was so intense. You know, both of them wanted it so badly. But in the end, it's this duo, Shamoki and Swizzy. I am lost for words when it comes to this team. Never have we seen a team come from afar and just imprint themselves in the lobby, make themselves such a force. Truly a special story we're watching and following here across this season. I am so curious to see where that leaves them in the standings now, because going into day 2, their confidence is going to be sky high.
Absolutely. This is the team that we saw play in weeks, showed some display of skill. Surge Week, absolutely clinical. And now every stage of the competition, they've absolutely owned it. An amazing Game 6 VR in Grands. Levin, that's momentum for day 2.
To think we have 6 more of these coming tomorrow. What a fantastic day 1. One of the best I've seen here in EU for a very long time. It's been a pleasure calling the action with you, Shayo, but we're going to send it back to Frankie.
Thank you very much, boys. I can't wait to see what you're going to be calling tomorrow. But right now, let's talk about Swizzy and Shamoki. As it's already been mentioned, they've come over from the Asian region to compete in Europe, and their consistency today has been something to behold. So it feels only right that they cap off the action with a bit of a
Great end. Couldn't imagine a better ending for them, right? What a performance. What a just incredible way that they ended this game. What a talent this duo is, just as a collective, but also individually. We saw shining lights from both of them, just doing so well at picking up so many eliminations. I like the way that they were actually playing this end game, because they were actually just going for eliminations. They were going for those edits, and they got 7 in the end. What a great end game.
Look, it looked like Malabuka was going to be the one dominating that end game after he took out Mustache, but in the final moments, Shamoki got that last elimination, got that victory royale, and now the duo from Asia, they're dominating EU.
It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with this duo going into day number 2, because I imagine they weren't necessarily on many of the other duos' radars. Obviously, Malabuka and Mustache having that history. And it's been fantastic, actually, to see both of their duos really step up as we head into this grand final.
Yeah, they've stepped up, particularly Mustache and Tayson. I think they've solved a lot of their Surge issues today. They've been typically struggling with Surge all season. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. They're often the last to rotate out of their drop spot, and coming out of that north side of Slappy Shores, it's especially difficult when the zones have been like they have today. I don't even think we've had an east side zone whatsoever. So for them to be in 7th place right now, they will be happy. It's a good stepping stone for tomorrow.
Happy they will, but almost expected to see Mustache, Tayson, Malabuka, Thomas in the top 10. But what wasn't as expected was, one, now that duo from Asia competing and being in 2nd place on the leaderboard after day 1, but also Jirez and Cherry, who are in 3rd place. These are, well, the 3rd place duo was their first time competing in a FNCS finals, and now for the duo coming from Asia on EU being in 2nd, I mean, it's just 2 things that you love to see.
This is interesting, though. Queasy and Vino, they are at 8th place at the moment. They went up 1 place after that result, and this is a duo that we expect to really be in the top 3 whenever they've played 6 games in the lobby.
You would, but this is Queasy and Vino. Now, Queasy, all the way back in Chapter 3, Season 2, he was about 37th, 38th, if I remember correctly, after day 1 with Hen, and they ended up in 8th place after day 2. So as you can see, Tundra Vino, day 2. He's changed his name midway through the tournament. He knows that it's all to play for on day 2. And when you're playing with Queasy, when you're playing with Veno, you know that anything is possible. And if they maybe saw a few issues, you can see a couple of hammer instances here where they did fall. I know in this endgame, they were very split. So if they can solve these problems for tomorrow, I have no doubt they'll be back in that top 5, maybe even winning.
You said it yourself, Mini. Vino, day 2, he knows it. The confidence tomorrow is going to be unreal for that duo, but they're going to have a bit of pressure as well.
Yeah, no, bro. Push that, baby. 1 away from 300 in 3 hours. W. They got it on streaming? Yeah, I'm locking in. I'm locking in. I mean, these motherfuckers are shambles. The fact that they did, they got 8 this game is pretty impressive. I gotta be honest. Hey, what's wrong, bro? No way they're going this late. And they're 60 below. Dude, this is impressive how the fuck they came back from this. I mean, look how shambles these motherfuckers are. Holy fuck. No way they got 8. With 140 below as well, while in zone. They're storm fighting? The fuck? How did they get 8th? What am I watching? They're alive! He's 1 HP! Bro, this is crazy. Slow down. Nah, I'm fast as fuck. I'm witnessing every single thing. T-Dog with the tier 3. What up, big T-Dog? Thank you, big dog. Shaq with the prime. Raids with the tier 1. 300. W Harvester, bro. Holy shit. Or Bushware. Gotcha, shit. Eric doing the prime, baby. Is it the fire split? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, they're shambles, bro. This is like... Yeah. Able to convert tier 1 to a Twitch Prime to a tier 1. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that, Ladian. Very good thumbs up. Hammers are lifesavers. Yeah, they only got 1 though. It's not like... I'm gonna slow it down after this. Lilac, if you haven't got it and you've been waiting for like more than 2 weeks, email the support email. It's on the Dream site. Twitter. No way. Nearly 12 months, bro. Visual at the 10 as well. Goddamn.